Welcome to 2 Cents. I believe this is episode, what,
Are we
17?
keeping count?
I actually number them. I think this is 17. I could check. But this is the week ending October 25th, the final week before Halloween this year.
17. That's
We
already.
have a pretty short roundup.
That's already a quarter of a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been
Damn.
doing this since Jurassic World, so, well, that's already on DVD, so it gives you a hint at how far along we've become.
It's a good. Yeah, it's a
Feel
good tracker.
old.
It's farther than. Well, it's a milestone, I guess.
Sure.
I'm
yeah.
trying to. I'm thinking of anything I can to not think of cold right now.
Think of warmness. Think about how hot it is where I'm at. Well, not hot, but I'm sure
how-
I
Really? How hot is
Yeah.
it down there?
It's not hot, but my guess right now, the temperature is probably like 69, 68.
Yeah, it's just been. It's been crazy raining, but it looks like it's done for us over here.
I'd like some of that rain. Let's jump into this big thing, weather report. Force Awakens, the trailer. We talked about last week. How many times have you seen it?
Who's counting, man?
Oh, I can count. I only saw it 3 times.
Did you
so-
watch it live? Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the game while editing last week's 2 Cents, and when it finally came on at halftime, I watched it back to back 3 times.
Yeah, I was in the common room watching the game, and then after it went on, I just kept watching it over and over and over again on my iPad. I stopped paying attention to the game after that because that was all I cared about.
The 3 that I saw was enough for me to catch everything. Like I saw, Leia with her head on Han's chest.
that's
Which
like-
obviously, it looks like something like a funeral.
Who knows? I don't know. Did you really look that deeply into the frame, or because I didn't freeze frame it at all? Like
I did. I freeze
and I
framed it.
saw still shots of it later, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's a reunion moment. Could be a funeral.
I mean, it was our first look at Leia,
Yeah.
so I wanted to look at her new hair. It's like a bun on top now.
Oh, well, it's only like it's less than 24 frames that we get out of it. Like I don't know.
Of her?
It's like less than a second.
Yeah, it's like 15.
It's not that big of an in-depth look, but God, yeah, dude, I watched that thing so many.
So
like
the next
it's pretty
question
ingrained
is,
in my head.
did you buy tickets?
No, not yet, because I don't
No?
know where I'm gonna be. I want to buy tickets for Christmas Day if I can, but I gotta figure it. I need to know. I don't think I'm gonna need to, because people bought tickets for the midnight screening or for the early Thursday showings. That's really what
Yeah.
sold out for.
I mean, it
yeah,
makes
I mean
sense.
that's so. I'm not planning on going to the midnight.
Yeah, I'm not doing that as well.
But-
A group of friends, the friends that I mentioned last week, they did buy tickets, so I bought tickets as well. I'm seeing it Saturday morning in 2D, but it is ArcLight, so not the worst thing.
You got
But
the
I
dome?
am definitely gonna. No,
oh.
ArcLight in Pasadena, but I am definitely gonna go see it in IMAX 3D, hopefully at Irvine.
Yeah,
I'm
they
gonna
might.
talk to people trying to get them to go.
I haven't
with me.
heard a set thing on this, but like supposedly it's gonna be released in 70mm IMAX, and I know.
No, they shot some of it in 65.
No, I know that they shot it, but it will be projected on 70mm IMAX.
They're not doing digital.
They are, but apparently the theaters that are capable of doing it, they're going to roll out 3D prints in 70mm,
So-
and the Spectrum.
So Irvine would
the
be
Spectrum
doing
is
it.
one of the theaters that's capable of doing
Yeah.
it. So yeah.
Universal City. Too.
Also the Chinese, they installed a 70mm print
Damn.
just for or projector just for Interstellar, but I don't know.
That rail pissed off my experience there. That screen wasn't nearly as impressive.
It
as
was not
Irvine's.
that big, but it was still. The Walk is not a movie known for. Oddly
known for anything
enough, it's
now,
not known
so-
for its height because it wasn't shot in that ratio. But it was still. They opened it up specifically for those IMAX screenings, so it worked well enough. I feel like I got the effect that it was shot for. I didn't need any extra, like a screen that with any extra space on the top and bottom, so it was good enough for there. Like I feel like the width was big enough, but I don't know. I hope it's in 70. I'd love to get more info on that.
No one knows how much JJ actually shot with the IMAX cameras.
It's just
mystery.
one scene.
I'm not sure. It's just
Yeah.
one scene. It's like the Jakku
It's
ship.
just
or
the final action scene.
the final fight.
That's the
Nice.
assumption. They said it was one sequence, and I assume it's the one where they're. They showed the camera out in the desert in Abu Dhabi, so I'm assuming it has to do with Jakku, and that's probably going to be the final set piece of the movie. That's the assumption going in, but we still, even with this trailer, we still know nothing.
I wouldn't say nothing, but we don't know enough to fully understand everything.
We get a sense, yeah.
You can start the rumor mills, but the reason I started off with this, not because of tickets or if you saw the trailer, is that The Force Awakens already crossed $6 million in IMAX alone. It crashed multiple ticket sites, including Fandango, MovieTickets.com, IMAX. Like every ticket place basically was crashed for a couple hours on that Monday.
Yeah, I mean,
totally makes sense. You need better servers.
I mean, that's the thing. I know that people keep complaining about stuff like this of oh, you think they'd be prepared. It's like, well, they know, but I guess you never.
They don't expand that.
Don't have
that's a lot of traffic for a movie.
You don't know
website.
how many people is going to be a lot. You just know it's going to be a lot, and
they still haven't reported real numbers because they reported. I try to look up right before this episode. Most people announce the numbers on Tuesday or Wednesday. So there's been a whole another half of the week. I didn't buy my tickets until 2 days ago. We don't know what the real numbers are. No one has a clue. And it's like you said, Thursday midnights, Friday, all day, especially in IMAX and 3D, are probably sold out in major city movie theaters. But we don't know what the kind of gross is. And the reason I bring this up is that this weekend was horrible at the Cineplex. One of the bigger releases this weekend was Gem and the Holograms. That only got $1.3 million for Universal.
Is that surprising at all? I mean,
I think so. It's a Hasbro property. It's John M. Chu. It was based on an 80s cartoon that was pretty popular. I've seen the trailer a couple times. I really liked it. If I was still working at my MC, I would definitely have gone and seen it. Molly Ringwald's in it.
I mean, it
has that whole YouTube superstardom thing.
I see the appeal there, but it's just because I know there's fans of John M. Chu, but it's not a movie that really got that much marketing. It's
because they fucked up the marketing. They didn't have a release date until
hence why I'm not surprised by it. I did not even know that it was coming out this weekend.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah,
I knew it was supposed to be a early summer release, and then they flubbed it. In the trailer, the last trailer I saw, which was in theaters, it didn't even say a date. It just said coming soon.
Yeah.
Or I think it said fall 2015.
No, I mean I'm guessing this weekend. Okay, I'm looking at the releases here. Last Witch Hunter,
Paranormal. Yeah, that did really bad. Paranormal Activity did $5 million.
Okay, well, but Paranormal Activity
is
really
also
bad
for a shot in 3D.
Yeah, but it's also released on half the screens that it normally would have.
Yeah,
you know why?
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, with Blumhouse trying their new video on demand.
But also
pissing off
but also Paranormal Activity is it's a franchise that's people are pretty much tired of at this point. This would be. The weekend before Halloween, that's always been a great spot to put.
Weekend.
Yeah, whatever the the latest horror franchises or any horror film that people are looking forward to, because Halloween weekend itself, no one's going to go to the movies. They're out doing their thing. But I mean, it's just this and Last Witch Hunter, which that's the closest thing.
It's supposed to be really bad.
Which I'm bummed about. I haven't seen it, but I was kind of hoping that it would be good. There's a lot of talent behind that.
Did you see those stills of Vin Diesel with the beard?
No.
I saw those and I was like,
I saw some trailers and I was like, it doesn't look that horrible. It has a solid cast.
Yeah, it seems it could be.
Yeah, I mean,
fun.
it seems like they're into it. It's not like Elijah Wood doesn't seem like he's half-assing. It seems like they're trying, and also it's Breck Eisner. He did The Crazies, which I thought was really good.
I remember seeing that. I didn't like it.
No.
Yeah, it was 2008.
2000.
A little earlier
it was 5 years ago or so. I thought it was really cool. It was.
I haven't seen the George Romero original.
No, neither have I.
Can't really do a comparison.
But
it was pretty spooky.
Yeah, it was a remake.
It was in that Timothy Olyphant?
Yeah. It had a really insane car wash scene. I remember that. It was a fun. For the people that saw the original, I think it's regarded as one of the better remakes. And I didn't think it was anything substantial, but I had fun watching it. I thought it was pretty good. But what else? Rock the Casbah, unfortunately,
which did
nothing,
and
I heard I think it's the lowest rated movie. Yeah, that's a bummer.
It's Bill Murray kind of carrying a movie. It seems like he can only do that if it's drama now.
Why do you say that? Because of Lost in Translation?
No, St. Vincent last year too. But if it's not really weird indie, or a drama. Like I can't remember the last time he had a
Well, I
comedy
mean,
hit.
isn't this a really weird indie kinda? Or I mean,
Sorta. I mean, it's about music.
yeah.
It's named after a song. Like, I saw the trailer. It looked like a pseudo political comedy.
I don't even know how to
Uh,
describe it, but it's Barry Levinson. I think that was enough for me
yeah.
to think like,
So
oh, it could be good. Also, Bruce
who
Willison
knows? It's
is in something, and I doubt it's one of the. It's not like it's a Die Hard role that you could half-ass, but. It was interesting though,
so
like just box office wise. I texted you about that, and Back to the Future
yeah,
Day
yeah.
on
The Back to
Wednesday.
the
Yeah,
Future.
that was the biggest grosser.
It's like 1.5.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then the trilogy re-releases did really, really well as well. So Universal kind of, I guess, made up for Gem doing bad.
that was Paramount
But
actually.
like I said, I want to see the real.
Oh wait, no,
Back to the Future? No.
Sorry,
No.
Gem is Universal. You're right. No,
Yeah, they're
no,
both
I'm not talking
Universal.
about that.
Paramount was Paranormal. So maybe Universal made up, but Gem's like probably their worst release this year. It's kind of a bummer. It's one of their last releases too.
Yeah, I mean, well, what else? What else do they have? No, they got
Trainwreck.
Yeah, they got plenty. There's also
No, they made a ton of money. I'm just saying, like, I hope this doesn't affect them and their deal with Hasbro. 'Cause, they have an office on their back.
yeah, I mean, they haven't really.
And Battlefield didn't do well.
Battleship.
Or Battleship. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Can't
So-
remember it. No, it was a piece of shit. Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. Actually, there really isn't. Okay, there's
Yeah.
there's Krampus, but there's
I believe
Legend,
they have another big release.
Sisters, which is
Is that a remake?
no, that's the Tina
of the-
Fey,
no.
Amy Poehler movie.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
Yeah,
Christmas.
going up against Star Wars for counter programming.
That should do well. I mean,
it'll make the money it
and-
needs to.
that's an NBC movie basically because it just has their SNL cast going. So
Yeah.
that's all in the family. But yeah, I want to see the real numbers because I'm pretty sure that Star Wars this weekend made more money than
Anything
most of the
else?
top 5.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably. But I mean, what are you going to account for? Like, I don't.
It's just that would be
yeah.
cool. Like I bet you it was the first time that pre-sales ever outgrossed an actual weekend.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that's supposed to work. If buying tickets in advance means anything, or if they actually have to count the stubs that get accepted into the theater the next day, or I don't know. I'm not sure how that process works. But and there's no sense really in reporting it until the day comes itself. Because otherwise it's probably a bunch of scattered sales for all sorts of different days. So there really is no sense in reporting it. Just the assumption is it's a lot. We'll figure out what it is when the time comes. Yeah.
You mentioned Back to the Future. Let's talk about that. It was Back to the Future Day on Wednesday, the 21st.
Yeah.
Did you do anything special to commemorate the day?
I actually started watching like the first 20 minutes of part 2, but then I got tired.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay.
So at least they made it to the present, right? Or the past, actually. It's the past now.
It's kind of cool. It's one of those things where, the idea of it was cool, but the internet just got way, way, way too excited for me, and I'm just like, I'm not that hardcore of a fan that I'm gonna get obsessed over this, but.
See, I am a pretty big fan. Like, I hit up Hamid. I wanted to watch it at his house, but he's feeling sick. I didn't do anything. I didn't watch the movie. I almost watched the documentary on Netflix, but I didn't. I wore my shirt.
I mean, it's if anything though, the cool thing is just that a bunch of people watch the movie, and it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I kind of regret now like not going to one of those screenings because it did really well, and I keep forgetting like. I've seen that movie in the theater with a crowd before, and that's a fun audience movie. Like, it really is. And, people still laugh, and you can tell that the laughs are, like, from people that are usually...
They're genuine,
are not expecting it to happen because some people have not seen it before. And it's one of those screenings that, I regret not going. It would have been a lot of fun, man.
Did they... I don't believe they showed the second movie in theaters. I think it was just the first one. As weird as that is.
No, there were...
were they doing trilogies?
Some were trilogy screenings, and some were, like, the movies separately spaced out. Like, okay, there's the first part 1 at 5 o'clock, part 2 at 8 o'clock, part 3,
like
later at night. It was spaced out like that from the listings I saw. But, yeah.
Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel skit?
Yeah, I did.
I turned it
that was
off
good.
because I got over it, but it was pretty
funny,
cool.
yeah.
Like they could have been a lot better. I think the Christopher Lloyd was a little
All right, you
off.
want to know the truth? I
But
actually was sitting on the toilet while watching that skit.
I think I was too.
They joke, yeah, and they joked about it. And I was just,
Yeah.
yeah, and
We're gonna be watching this
and
tomorrow.
that just made me realize, wow, that's really sad. I felt
really,
horrible
I mean,
right away.
It's like I gotta take a shit. I got 5 minutes.
That
to
just
kill.
made me feel bad about 2015. But
They totally went over the top with the marketing. I thought the only real thing that was important was that the Nike gave the power lacing mags to Michael J. Fox, and that they're coming next year for real. Like they filed a patent like 5 years ago, and then I believe it was 2 years ago on Back to Future Day, did a thing on eBay where they sold the shoes without power lacing and all the proceeds went to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. But the shoes are actually coming now.
oh, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, I know I won't have the
Yeah.
money, but that's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, it's. I guess, yeah. For Back to the Future Day, though, like just getting back to that, like it really was overhyped. At the same time, though, props to Universal for really pushing that, or if it was just a movement that really started on the internet. But I mean,
It's probably happening.
it's great publicity, and it's really cool. I mean, Star Wars is obviously getting so much love right now, and it's just cool seeing another classic getting, so much love just from people all around. And it's not like it's demanding a remake or anything. In fact, every time it's brought up, everyone's saying no.
Yeah,
Robert
Robert
Zemeckis
Zemeckis
is
is
like
like,
no,
"Fuck
and
no."
everyone's like, yeah, thank God, no, don't do that. Like that's a
I'm
horrible
not
idea.
opposed to a remake. Like I'd prefer a sequel, but that's less likely in my
Yeah.
opinion than a remake.
I mean,
Because it's about time travel. Like it wouldn't be the same story. It wouldn't be set in 1985. I think it'd be cool to have it set in the present day and they go back 30 years to 1985.
I think Christopher Lloyd is
That could be a fun. That'd be a fun twist.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd has said like he'd be down for a sequel, but if the same people were involved, I think that'd be a cool way to do it. But it is nice to just see something from before you and I were ever born. To still, it's still something that's
Widely
so embraced. Yeah,
popular.
and like I think that's cool. So
It's
props
one
to
of those
Universal
special
for
American
that.
movies. I can't imagine. I bet you Disney's still mad about passing on it. It seems like the perfect movie for Disneyland.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that ride at Universal. Which is that still there, or did they redo that?
No, they got rid of that for the Simpsons ride in 2006.
Yeah.
There's still one left. I believe it's in Hong Kong. We'll talk about Netflix for a second here. We kind of did a wraparound. I'm sure you saw this. The Canadian streaming rights, there was some weird contract negotiations that happened. Basically, when Netflix did their deal with Starz to get the Starz Play content so they could get Disney properties, there was a lapse. Because now Netflix actually gets Disney day and date type thing, which means a year from now, late 2016, that they're gonna get Avengers and real things without having to deal with third parties. They have them directly, and that's why they also have the animated classics like they do right now. But in Canada, the contracts were structured differently, so they're going to be getting Netflix is going to be streaming The Force Awakens sometime in late 2016.
Yeah, I saw that. It's not just Canada though; it's also everywhere else internationally, isn't it?
I don't know if it's international, but it's definitely Canada, which is a get for them because Netflix is Canadian. I think people forget that. So it's potentially going to be streaming October, late September. The contract is that it's 8 months after release. So
that could be as early as July.
It could be. I doubt it. But yeah. It's sometime later this year or next year. It's crazy. That seems really soon for a streaming title.
I don't know, not really, because it's every time that something is released in theaters from Paramount or Lionsgate, or even A24. My thought right away is okay, a year from now, this is going to be on Amazon Prime. Probably
Yeah.
less
Well,
than that.
A24
Yeah.
more than
Well,
Paramount.
A24 is sooner, but yeah, for Paramount or Lionsgate, that's mainly because of the Epix deal. But that's always been the time frame. Is okay, a year after theatrical release, this will be up for streaming.
Yeah.
Like, so,
But this
but
is a
because
major
because
movie.
it's Star Wars, yeah. But it's, I mean, just based on that, just as far as how soon things end up on streaming platforms based on a theatrical window, I'm not surprised by that. I get it's a huge movie, but it might not even be. What if the movie sucks and we just don't care by the time it comes out? Like
possible.
it seems like it's just something I'm not
I mean,
surprised by. Is what I'm saying.
The fact that people on the internet think that Luke is on the dark side now, like, how stupid could you be?
I'm curious.
Do they really believe that, or are they just trying to troll? I don't know.
You know what? I don't want to think about the plot whatsoever, but I'm very, very curious of how, if even that one shot of Darth Vader's burnt helmet. The way that it's edited makes it seem like that's Kylo Ren standing in front of it, but the locations could be different. But I'm curious as to how he came across all that.
Like, there's people on the internet that think that Kylo Ren is Luke Skywalker,
which is an interesting theory.
It's a bad theory because his voice is obviously Adam Driver, and you've seen stills of Adam Driver with his helmet off.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the movie. I don't know, just these.
Whatever.
I don't. It's kind of weird because I don't really trust anything that comes out of JJ or everyone's mouth, especially after the whole Khan thing, because that was.
It's not Khan, guys. I swear.
And I sat there and I walked out angry just out of that movie. Like, I enjoyed that movie a lot more now. Like, it's a really fun movie, but just I think the mystery box got a little out of control. So anytime I hear something from fans, it's like, well, that is an interesting what if. I'm not gonna I'm taking that with a grain of salt, though. I'm not expecting anything, but the stuff that I know for sure so far. Like the idea of the Jedi basically being kind of a myth right now.
A myth?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it was in A New Hope.
No, I mean, that's always been the case, but it's just, it's the logical way to do it, but seeing it and then finding that that's that for sure, and, having that moment where Harrison Ford says, oh, it's real.
It's all real.
All of it, just whoa, Like, which I know I'm not alone. That seems like that's everyone's favorite moment from that trailer.
I really liked I'm no one. I'm nothing. When what's her name, Ridley?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley, like that line where she's like, "Oh, I'm no one." It's like, well, okay, well, she's someone's daughter.
I'm guessing she's a Skywalker. That's just my guess.
I'm pretty sure that's Han and Leia's daughter.
Yeah, I mean,
especially because that moment on the Millennium Falcon. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay,
Netflix. Yeah, Netflix had another thing this week, which I don't really care about. I just want to mention it. They're reviving the Gilmore Girls. So this is the latest in their recapitalization on nostalgia.
Do you watch that?
At least it's more.
Okay.
No, I think maybe I've seen one episode. I do like Alexis Bledel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's her name? What's the other actress who's in Bad Santa?
I don't know.
The older sister.
I haven't seen Bad Santa. You know that.
Oh, you need to see. We gotta make. I'm gonna put that on the Jet to Cinema must watch soon. Yeah. Like closer to Christmas.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was one I was thinking of, but.
But yeah, so kudos to them for their fans, I guess.
Yeah, I mean
I don't understand why they're like. Isn't the idea of them getting rid of all these contracts and raising their price that they have more original content? I want original content, not.
Yeah, but find it.
Revivals and remakes.
But revivals are pretty popular right now. I mean, Arrested Development. I want to say that was the start, and that did very well. I don't know how.
That was pretty weak, though.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it was kind of meh. But
it was weird.
It still got a lot of attention, and for these shows that have a ton of fan base. What's the other one? Full House, I think that they're doing.
Yeah, Fuller House is coming sometime soon.
I don't know how huge the fan base for that is, but
I don't.
Even then, though, I think people are going to watch it out of curiosity. But I mean, that's a thing now, and it makes sense from a business sense. And I think there are there are shows where I think, like down the line, for me, I might. I mean, this is the case with Community. Is the popular thing is 6 seasons in a movie, and I think that the movie, the way that I imagine it being, is that's basically going to be the reunion some point down the line. So I can see the appeal for shows that people love, that they're attached to, of wanting to see what happens, like years later.
Look,
after the season. But
as much as I watched Smallville, if the CW announced a Smallville return, I would watch it, but like begrudgingly. I wouldn't be excited about it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's I just
like the Evil Dead coming back. That's a different thing. That's because that series wasn't over. Okay, they needed another movie at the least.
But the point is, though,
Whereas,
you and I, neither of us are fans of Gilmore Girls, and my point is like, okay, there are fan bases that would be interested in that sort of thing.
That show was on TV for like, as far as like I've read about that finale, and like the way it was done, it was like it was like done really well, like a good send off. I don't know, like. TV's still really strong. Is this just networks' like response to actual good shows, and they're lazy, or are they just trying to get viewership?
I think
because undoubtedly, if you're a Gilmore Girls fan and you don't have Netflix, you're either going to steal someone's account or you're going to buy it to watch.
I think this is the TV version of we're in a time right now where we're not getting any original stuff, and it's because people are just heavily into nostalgia. I mean,
we are. Like Mr. Robot was really big this year.
Yeah, I mean, there is stuff that's original that's getting out there.
Amazon, like
there's stuff out there that's original that's always
Master of None show in a week and a half.
There's original stuff that's always going to get made that people are going to get into and they're going to discover. But I think it's more likely now, just that people are going to turn back to the things that they're familiar with, to the stuff that they love, specifically. If it's an old show and they're going to want to see that continue. I mean, I don't know if you watch Friends, but if I know that a lot of people want to see that reunion. I don't really care to, but I know that if that were to happen, I would probably watch it just out of curiosity.
I've seen several episodes of Friends, not really.
Hey, if Firefly got brought back, the people would.
Oh, okay, I'd watch that. That's a different example. That's a show that lasted one season.
Yeah, no,
and was canceled.
It's a unique beast.
That's a very different example than like Friends that lasted 8 years or whatever, and everyone was making over $1 million in the last season.
Oh yeah, but if you're into it, depending on the show, it depends on how invested you are in the characters. You're probably if you want to see what they're up to 10 years later, then yeah, it's not out of. It's not like it's an unreasonable. You see the viewer appeal, is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I want the status quo to change. I want, because as like I said, as excited as I am for Evil Dead and Twin Peaks, a year from now, and several other things that are out there in the pipeline, and maybe a Firefly reboot or revival. Like the whole point of TV is it's living with these characters. When it's streaming and you're gonna binge watch it anyway, does it even have to be TV? Why not just make it a movie?
I don't know. People are really into binging, that people like long-form storytelling. It's just that's the world that we live in now. And I guess there are benefits for TV creatively if you want to explore every avenue of a character and what they're going through. That's I don't know. I guess it's just that's how people like viewing things more so than movies, because I mean, in a way, I'm sure you can agree with this, but in a way, TV is a much more, if you're invested into it long enough, then the experience of watching it and being invested into characters, it can be far more powerful than that of any film, specifically because it's long form and you are attached to it longer. That can have a greater effect on a viewer, especially because you're at home and you're watching it alone. Then it feels more intimate that way.
I mean, TV is one of those things where it's like, as weird as this is to say, it is a reason for some people to keep living. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen next season?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
For some people, that's sports, which is still on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, for TV, it goes on long enough that it feels like it's part of your life. Movies it's just a short moment. Like, it's not nearly as long. But I
It can
mean,
be more powerful.
I,
But yeah,
I see why that works for people, but I'm not interested. Me personally, no.
yeah, moving on to the Oscars. I think I said this last week or a week and a half ago. I was like, ooh, when are they going to announce the host? They announced the host. It's Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I knew it was around. It's always around this time of the year because January is not too far off now. He's hosted before. I think it was 2006.
2005.
I think he
yeah.
was. Was it
I
five?
think so.
He did it right before Jon Stewart's most recent time, I believe.
Yeah, or did Jon Stewart do it only once or twice?
No, he did it twice.
Okay.
I don't think he did it consecutively. I think it was sandwiched between Chris Rock, or maybe it was twice right before Chris Rock's year. I can't remember. So don't really know what to say about that. Hopefully he's good.
No, he's a funny
Yeah,
guy.
he
I mean,
directed. Yeah, no, he. Well, I mean, he. They don't. The hosts don't write the jokes. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris, I would hope, isn't that unfunny in person.
You didn't think
The worst part about the
you didn't
Oscars
think it was
last
funny
year.
last year? I thought there were some funny bits.
Okay, I liked the whiplash drumming moment, which wasn't him getting the laughs; it was Miles Teller, and I liked bum ba he just won an Oscar, bum ba dum bum bum. That was it. I can't. Was it like a musical director or something? Someone won. It was like best foreign film. Someone won who could barely speak English, and he got on stage, and he was funnier than Neil Patrick Harris was all night.
I don't remember I barely watched the Oscars. I just watched the highlights. But the opening number I didn't think was bad when I watched it. But
Yeah, no, the opening number wasn't.
yeah,
bad.
I mean that's
It
kind of
did-
what I judge it by because that's what makes the impression. Usually, that's the longest amount of time that they have on screen when they're hosting.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything. You've seen Hugh Jackman's one.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
That's like the best thing I've ever seen at the Oscars.
The reader.
His closing statement where he's like, no. He's like, and I'm Wolverine. And he's standing there and he has like his blades out from his knuckles and they like cut to commercial. Oh, so good. Something that happened this week, really, we've mentioned this before. Someone interviewed Anthony Mackie, you know, he's Marvel Universe also. I'm pretty sure the interview was for whatchamacallit, the Seth Rogen movie. What's it called?
The night before, I think.
The night before, yeah. Because that's coming soon now. And he said that, like, they were asking about black directors, and he said, the director's not important to the story. A horse didn't direct Seabiscuit. That's the quote. I think he's right on the money here. This is something that we've talked about.
No,
Like why does it matter? Like, I get it. Like, okay, we talked about this when we did our short review for the Babadook. That's a movie that only a woman could make because it is about the maternal process and rearing a kid and all those kinds of things and being a mother. Whereas this is a superhero movie for a superhero that most people don't even know about, like Black Panther. That's what he was saying.
I mean,
It's not really a part of pop culture.
No.
No one knows who he is besides the people that do read Marvel Comics, which is a fraction of their ticket sales.
I mean, the main issue is that we know that Hollywood, it's mostly white male directors working. That's the only issue really, is that that's what we have. It doesn't mean that we have to then just specifying a specific type of director to work on a specific project. That's the problem.
Like reverse racism.
Yeah, it's like, that's basically white producers going, we feel bad that there's too many of us working and directing, so why don't we put you here to make you feel better? I mean, and it's you're talented enough, you could do it, but it's just kind of a way of getting something done so that we can, people on Facebook can go like, oh good, finally someone's doing something about it. And unfortunately you can't blame them for doing that either, because it's like, okay, good, they're getting work, they're getting the attention, but these things, what I've said is, many times before, is that this just has to be normalized. Someone should just be a good director regardless of race or gender. Yeah. I mean, okay. He has it dead on. I mean, it's not like Glory is a movie that had to be made by a white guy or a black. I don't know. Maybe Do the Right Thing, if it was made by a white guy, it probably wouldn't be as effective.
That's different though. That's a different case. That's a writer, director, producer.
Yeah, I mean, whatever environment you're from, and if you're making something that's personal, then that's going to be a reflection of your reality, and that, you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, stop me from rambling here. Yeah, that quote,
God.
yeah, you just, yeah, I'm glad you told me, because yeah, that's dead on.
It was like a really, I didn't read the full interview, but I read that and I was like, whoa, that's a powerful quote.
Yeah, no, I mean, he has it right. I mean, and thank God someone said it, seriously, because it shouldn't be that big a deal, and unfortunately, because we keep making it a big deal, like we have to, but it just seems like I don't know. It seems like it defeats the purpose at the same time.
Like, imagine if people didn't like the Matrix movies, so they found out the directors weren't Asian.
What
That's
does
kind of
that
what
have to
it's
do
like.
with anything?
It's it's probably the most revered kung fu movie of the 21st century.
Okay.
Well, it's 1999, but
And Yuan Ping did the choreography. There, you gotta. If you really want to be that nitpicky,
I'm saying like directing.
Yeah. Not everyone understands what that title means.
Most
just
people don't
saying,
understand
like,
what
yeah,
it means.
it's just the name that you hear about first, and you assume that they're in charge of the entire thing, which is kind of, whatever.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about more directors, do some director news. Leave the hot topics. George Clooney is supposedly set to direct Suburbicon, which is a script written by the Coen brothers. It's a noir. Don't know anything about it. Didn't want to read into it. I mean, I haven't even seen the Hail Caesar trailer. So mystery's a good thing for me when it comes to the Coens. Maybe that's a good thing. I mean, he doesn't have the best directing credits.
Good Night, Good Luck
is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. But other than that, like Leatherheads and Monuments Men, not a revered director.
I heard The Ides of March was good, but I haven't seen it.
I still want to see that. Yeah, I mean, it's Ryan Gosling, and I like him. So
yeah,
who doesn't like him?
Yeah, you remind me of Leatherheads.
I did not. I think I saw like 15 minutes of it. I don't like John Krasinski.
No.
The fact that I liked him in Aloha was what I liked most about that movie.
Well, yeah, but he was quiet.
And it's because he didn't
yeah.
say anything. Yeah, he didn't say anything, so it gave you more reason to like him. He was much more likable when he was just looking at the camera. More directors. Joe Dante. He's directing something again. Can't remember what it was. It's not important. I just hope that this one...
It's a great announcement.
Actually... Yeah, it doesn't, like, I could Google it, but it doesn't really, like, okay, like, he's made some not-so-great movies. I want to see Burying the X. I want to see it, like, in a day or two, okay, just to see if it's actually bad, because it has a good cast. I can't believe that it's bad. Yeah. But, like, he's at this point now where it's, like, maybe he'll just direct the Gremlins reboot.
You know, The Hole was, it was a solid movie. Like, I know that was on the shelf for a while. I think you can stream that in 3D on Netflix right now. That's how I saw it. But yeah, I know you don't have a 3D TV.
Yeah,
so,
I don't have a 3D TV.
But yeah, no, it was like it was shot natively, and it's shot really well, and he does some really cool stuff with that format. But I mean, it wasn't. It's kind of a forgettable movie, but I think it was pretty. It was pretty fun. So he still has something.
I'm looking at his. He did some TV recently, like 8 episodes of Hawaii Five-0.
That's well suited for that.
Lots and lots in TV, because his last big motion picture was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was reading about that last night on accident because I was looking at Doctor Who, like usages in pop fiction, or pop culture. Apparently Daleks are in it. Who knows? But moving on, more. This is casting news per se. Chris Cooper has joined Live by Night, or is it Live by Night? I don't know.
Directed by
Ben Affleck. So this is why this is important. If they have more people coming on board, that's kind of proof that it's not on the back burner anymore. So maybe it's not slated behind the standalone Batman. Maybe that's not a thing. Why would someone attach themselves to a project if it's not moving anywhere?
Yeah, no, I mean it's slated for 2017 right now, so they got to be shooting that fairly soon. But then again, Justice League is coming out that same year, and
they might be rushing a Batman movie right now. You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what I mean, I'm still dodgy on how they're handling it because for Wonder Woman and for Flash, for Aquaman, the way that they're
Mhm.
doing is that they just had guys like write two different scripts and they're just picking whichever one's best.
That's kind of what Warner's been doing for forever.
I know.
Like they were doing that when they were trying to make a fifth Batman movie. They had like 6 or 7 screenwriters out there all giving their own opinion, making their own draft.
I mean, yeah, I
So
don't know how that contributes to a shared universe, or if that's just mainly make it a standalone movie and then find like one scene to bridge everything together. Which what, if it ends up actually working that way, I think that's kind of cooler because yeah. Sorry, what?
I read a rumor. I read a rumor a couple days ago that the Wonder Woman movie might be taking place before Batman vs Superman, which would make sense. Especially that way they wouldn't have to put any cameos in it.
Yeah, I thought the Michelle McLaren. I heard that she originally wanted to do a World War II story.
Yeah, which would be cool.
And I don't know.
I thought that was like the best thing about
yeah.
that first Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that'd be weird if they all of a sudden do that after she dropped out. But now who knows what else was on there. Yeah, Live by Night. I'm pretty sure that's
nothing about.
It's about Prohibition. I'm pretty sure it's Live by Night.
Is it?
Yeah, but I mean, they already got quite a cast, and they already have character names attached to that. So that's got to be moving along fairly quick. And I doubt he's going to be donning the Batman suit like anytime soon. Well, they don't really. I don't think they're starting like shooting with Justice League until maybe a few.
Probably gonna be starting next year.
Yeah, maybe early January or something. And I don't know. Maybe he worked out time to shoot right after that. So it could happen.
I can't even remember if the Strangers movie with him and Gillian Flynn and David Fincher is even happening anymore, or if it was pushed back too because of Batman. Because I want to say that was also a Warner's film. So who knows? It's going to be interesting these next year and a half, especially with this divorce and everything that's going on with the Batfleck.
Yeah, it's still slated as just in development right now. Yeah.
In other casting news, this is kind of cool. Lionsgate was announcing their new Power Rangers like all week. It was like, here's the Black Ranger, don't know who that is. Here's the White Ranger, don't know who that is. But they did announce who's going to be the Blue Ranger, and this is kind of cool. It's Earl from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. I think he's like perfect for a Power Ranger.
Hell yeah! I mean, that's all right. Yeah, that's cool. I thought you were getting to the thing of I think it's the Red Ranger. The guy that was cast was not even alive when the show came out.
No, I don't care about it.
I don't.
It doesn't matter.
I don't.
I
even
mean,
know who that
I
is.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive when the first season started, so I watched it in syndication. Or like I caught up because I don't know. Like my brother's I was really into it, but I was like really young. I remember having the toys and being really big on the movie. And I remember I was in preschool and someone brought some of the ooze, and I was like, "Oh my god, the Ivan ooze!"
I don't know. Yeah, for me, I had the toys.
I thought that skyboarding sequence is so cool in the first movie.
I never even saw the movie. Like I had the toys.
Oh, you gotta see that.
Everyone had the toys. If the show was on, then I would watch it. That's. I think I had a few PC games, but that's.
Did you have the Megazords or just the action figures?
Just the action figures. Like
oh, you're lame. I had all the Megazords. We could make it.
It was short lived,
and we also had the white one.
Honestly, like for me, like it was short lived. It was enough to like.
It wasn't short lived.
They
still
it was
have
not
current
It's not
shows.
Yeah, it's not deeply seated into my consciousness. Like it was just I want to say like maybe half a year where me and everyone else was into it, and then I mean I don't know. I guess it just faded. And if anyone had the toys, you would recognize them.
You weren't in America at this time, right?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Like, it was a huge thing here. It was kind of like
I was more into
you were young,
Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was like you were young and you were watching Barney, and then when the Power Rangers came out, you're like, I'm a grown kid now. Fuck Barney. I can see crime fighting and like Godzilla fighting. Like I want to see this. This is so cool, guys.
Do you remember Action Man?
It was. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think that was bigger for me.
Yeah. Some production news. Disney's Tower of Terror is being adapted into a movie for a second time. The first one was like straight for TV with Steve Guttenberg and
Oh, is that for Disney Channel?
and what's her name? Yeah, it was for Disney Channel. Yeah.
Oh man.
So this is really weird considering that like the vibe for Tower of Terror is that it's inspired by the Twilight Zone. Like there's Easter eggs all around the queue area and stuff. Like okay, so they have a Haunted Mansion movie in development right now.
Guillermo
They
del
have
Toro?
no, I don't think he's attached to that anymore.
Oh, man.
They have another Pirates movie coming out sometime soon. Well, it was something. There's like announced that something else. Obviously, they just had Tomorrowland. So when are they gonna stop? Like, does this one have to flop or
Never.
Like, we talked about this weeks and weeks ago. I want that Magic Kingdom movie, and the more attractions that they adapt, it makes it harder for Magic Kingdom to happen.
See, I mean, I don't know what. Okay, so you want a Magic Kingdom movie, but at the same time, you want this to stop.
Yeah.
You're like really. You have two
I want
minds
the
right
park.
here. Yeah.
Like I want a movie based on the park itself in like a fantasy realm. I don't want the attractions being adapted in like realistic films. Or I mean, this one's obviously going to be supernatural elements, but like, is this a American Horror Story hotel is doing really well? We have a hotel, guys. Let's make a movie.
The way I come down on this is just get a good script. Get it right. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean is proof that if you have good characters,
one is
and
proof.
you have a good story. Yeah, and one is all you need. It's just just do it right. Just you got an established brand, now just make something cool out of it, and that's all you have to do. Don't go the lazy route and just depend on Eddie Murphy to bring your movie some popularity, you know?
I might have told you this before. That weekend, Haunted Mansion, when it came out, was my aunt she lives in Anaheim, so like goes to Disneyland all the time and all that stuff. So they wanted to take me to see. I was young. They wanted to take me to see Haunted Mansion. I was like, no, I want to see Bad Santa. Best decision I've ever made at the theater. Made up for the time where I picked Mr. Magoo over Mousetrap.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know what? Like I liked Mr. Magoo as a kid, so I don't think I would have regretted that decision. But
Mousetrap still holds.
Oh yeah,
up.
now it's just I would much rather watch that movie.
I got shit from my mom and brother for like a week.
For Mousetrap?
For picking Mr. Magoo.
Or
not Mousetrap, Mouse Hunt. Mouse Hunt, rather. I should have just called it Mousetrap and made it an adaptation of the board game. That would probably have made a lot more money.
God, yeah, it's. Yeah, I want to look it up right now. Is it Mouse Hunt?
It's Mouse Hunt.
Because I keep calling it Mousetrap, actually.
That's Mouse Hunt.
Yeah,
I have it on VHS.
Nathan Lane. Wow,
yeah,
look at you.
Whatever the guy's name is, the Brazilian contractor from There's Something About
Mary.
Mary.
No, that's one of Gore Verbinski's early flicks. Like it's a really good one.
I believe it's like Abe Vigoda's final role too, or one of his last ones.
I thought that was Good Burger.
Good Burger.
Moving on.
Yeah, a couple more production things. Friday the 13th got moved again. Obviously to another Friday the 13th. This one being January 2017.
Big fucking deal.
It is kind of big. When you take a remake of a remake and push it twice.
Yeah, it's
like
proof that
why not just
nobody's
shelve it?
that interested.
Or just shelve it.
They'll get to it eventually. I mean, it's not a priority.
It's
something
they have
that would make the money. I'm sure if they release it,
maybe,
and they know that
it's opening against the Dark Tower. So,
which is that also? That's probably going to get pushed back as well.
No. Sony's The Dark Tower is opening January 13th, 2017. There's no plans to push it back.
Nah, is that actually moving ahead?
I would. Oh, they have the date when Sony did their last announcements. Like, what was that? Like 3 months ago is one of them. So,
yeah, but everyone's been pushing back because they just, you're seeing it now more than ever too. That studios are just kind of getting hasty on claiming a date, and then they got to push it when they don't have anything rolling yet.
This is the weird thing about this Friday the 13th remake, or remake, or the reboot remake. They have a video game coming out sometime soon, with a big budget. So it's kind of like maybe they're gonna halt the game and release it shortly before the movie to try to capitalize and make buzz.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But like,
Or I don't know if they want to distance that. Like,
slasher movies aren't necessarily supposed to be good. They're just supposed to have good kills, and you're supposed to have good-looking naked bodies and some funny
yeah,
moments.
that's the standard
It's
for a
not
good
the
slasher movie.
Yeah, like it's not a hard concept. It's not supposed to be amazing. So when you push it, that kind of just means that it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, and at the same time, like it's tough to come up with something. Actually, now that you mention it, like to do something creative with a interesting kill when it's just a guy that has a machete and a hockey mask now. Like,
Especially when he's been in like what 15 movies.
yeah,
So
I mean, how many more interesting kills can you get unless you put him in space?
again, that'd be cool.
Give
Imagine
him
a
sci-fi
machete and
weapons,
Jason like crossover,
Like, yeah.
and they just call it like machete in space.
Just
Kills
give them,
Jason.
put him in a new environment. I don't know, put him on Tatooine for all I care. And actually, maybe that's the spinoff that we need.
Hoth.
Go
Put him
to
on
Disney
Hoth,
with
that'd
that.
be cool.
Have Marcus Nispel do a Star Wars anthology film where I don't know Jason Voorhees or I don't know
it is-
someone take someone from the Star Wars universe and make them a serial killer.
I mean, they tried to revitalize the series when they made Freddy vs. Jason. Like, they imagine if that did well and they made a sequel to that, and there was like a whole Freddy vs. Jason like franchise, the same way that there was Alien vs. Predator sequel.
Mhm. I mean that
Like
that could be cool.
That's what's weird. Like those were the beginning of this, like the franchise, like shared universe films, like outside, like Abbott and Costello meets the Wolfman all the way back
Mhm.
in the black and white era, and those movies did poorly. And now it's a huge thing.
Yeah, it just happens to be the right time.
Yeah. Moving right along.
What else we got?
Kingsman 2, summer 2017. It has a date, same day as Cars 2. It's a good day for weekend, or not Cars 2, Cars 3. Good date for sequels, I guess. Eggsy's back. They got what's his name to return.
Yeah.
Director's still to be announced.
Why wouldn't it be Matthew Vaughn? He's expressed interest in doing it, so
I don't know. I know he's helping write. He's probably producing, but he hasn't signed on. He's probably weighing his options.
Yeah, we'll see.
But he's most likely going to come back. They already have a date. That means they're feeling the pressure on their backs.
I mean, that's for an R-rated movie too that did that well, just internationally. Like that's good for that. I mean, that's a good sign for Deadpool. But I mean, it's kind of amazing that we're getting a sequel for that specifically, don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially considering I don't believe there's a sequel to the comic book.
Yeah, like
So-
I mean, I don't feel the need for a sequel, but it makes sense. On a
Well, I mean, they set up
business-wise
the
for them to
universe
make one,
pretty
yeah.
good, and the Kingsmen, like I guess we can just call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a cool organization. It's much hipper than
I'm
James Bond.
very,
is.
very curious though to know what the ramifications of what happened at the end of the first movie are going to look like. As far as
probably
if
the
that's
same way
if that's
that-
going to be acknowledged in the sequel, or if that's just going to be
Probably
more
the same way that
standalone.
they. Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably gonna be the same way that like James Bond movies happen. It's like, well, not now, but that happened last time. There was a big rocket with going up to the moon, and there's a moon base. We'll never mention that again.
Yeah, that's what's
ever.
nice about James Bond is that they're all self-contained, although not so
Well,
much
not now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the Spectre days, the old Spectre days, like same way.
Yeah.
So, like Blofeld stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's
obviously
like
gonna happen this time.
yeah, well,
I haven't read any of the reviews, but come on, man. We all know We all know this shit.
I don't care. It's Christoph Waltz. Just give him something
he-
amazing to say.
I
And
just
if you
want
throw
him
the
to
word-
have the cat.
If you throw the word Blofeld in there, whatnot? I mean, I don't care what it is. Just it should
I
be
want
amazing.
the cat.
I mean, I
I
was
the
willing
cat
to
make an appearance.
Hey, it's like with Star Trek again. Hey, okay, Benedict Cumberbatch can say his name is Khan. I don't care. He sounds awesome. Just give him awesome stuff to say. That's it.
One more thing on the production side. Meet the Patels is getting a remake at Fox Searchlight.
Huh?
Or not necessarily a remake, but a American version.
Okay.
Yeah,
Educate
I
me. What
know
is
very
this?
little. I know very little about it. It's about like an Indian family, and I believe like everyone in the movie is from the same family. I don't know. I read about it really briefly. I think it was on Entertainment Weekly or like on THR. But I know it's doing really well in the indie circuit, and it's
Is this
also like
based off the documentary? Is that
yeah,
okay? So they're doing a fictionalized version of it.
or like a walk version, yeah, the
Yeah.
biopic instead of the docu.
No.
I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, that's interesting. At least it's not a movie about non-white people.
Okay.
I
That's
got
totally
some,
why we should see it.
I'm sure it's why people will. We
That's why
got
people, yeah.
some. I mean, people are really excited about what's it called, Sanjay Super Team, the Pixar short about the Indian kid who's like fantasizing about superheroes, and they're
excited about
going
it just
crazy
because
about
of
it.
that, or because
Basically,
it's good.
that's the reason why people are. I'm excited about it because it sounds good and it's about superheroes. But that most people are excited because it's very politically correct and
because
crossing
people
the-
are awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving along, TV news. Very excited about this tidbit. The Sherlock Victorian special has got a title. It's called The Abominable Bride, and it's airing New Year's Day in both the U.S. and the U.K. This is the first time that PBS and BBC have released an episode on the same day. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I know what my New Year's Day plans are.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
excited.
So you do watch it. Okay. I've only watched a couple episodes, but I just got to know because this idea sounds awesome. But is that supposed to be within the timeline of the show? Like, do they travel back in time, or it's an alternate?
Like a throwback.
Okay. It's just an alternate version.
Doctor Who does Christmas episodes like every series, and sometimes they're really related. I think 2 Doctors back, like Matt Smith, his farewell episode was the Christmas episode, but usually it's just something fun. Like this past year, Nick Frost played Santa.
So it's just like a fun holiday special for Sherlock.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah, it's
because I know the
UK
UK does that for their shows. Yeah,
it's just gonna be let's throw them in the past. Let's have them talk like they would back then, dress the same way, like get rid of all the tech, and have like a more not original, but more timely episode, I believe. But it might, for all we know, they could just be plain dress up. Like it'd be a Christmas party where everyone has to dress Victorian theme. Like I don't know. I've just seen the stills.
or the excuse could just
But
be it's one of
my
their
guess-
ancestors or whatnot. Who
Yeah,
knows?
or something. Like my guess is that it actually takes place in the Victorian era and is kind of for like fan service.
Yeah, I mean that sounds awesome. As a holiday special, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, because I mean they were both so busy now that it's probably really hard to find time to film a whole series, and that's why this is happening.
Yeah, I mean I don't know how long they take to shoot each episode because each episode is like the length of a movie.
It's a movie.
Like, 90 minutes.
Yeah, they're usually 90.
I mean, yeah, they have to do it in a short amount of time because that's.
Well, I mean, when like the first series happened, Benedict Cumberbatch and what's his name, Bilbo,
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Martin Freeman. They weren't in a lot of things back then, and it's because of Sherlock that they've become widely successful and popular. So hopefully they have one more series left in them before they like throw in the cap.
No, I mean that's confirmed that
But
they're
really,
shooting.
really good.
They're writing
Yeah,
season 4 right
series.
now. Yeah, so that's
Who knows when that's going to go in production? though?
supposedly early next year.
Huh. Probably
Yeah.
do it right after the
Yeah.
special airs.
Yeah, no, I mean they're hard at work right now writing it. That's what I read.
That's good.
Yeah, so more for you and fans.
Something else. This is more TV news. Phil Lord and Chris Miller producing a time travel comedy. It's a pilot at Fox. So kudos to them. They're getting even more shit done. I don't know how attached they are to this, but anything time travel, I'm interested in.
I don't know how they find the time to just write all this stuff. Like,
It's probably multiplicity. They
Yeah.
have clones. Have you seen that movie?
Clone High, no.
No. Multiplicity.
Nope.
Michael Keaton. It was like 1996, I believe. It was like right in his cooling off period when he kind of disappeared from Hollywood. And it's him and who plays the love interest? Who plays his wife? I want to say it's
Andy McDowell.
shit. Yeah, I want to say it's Andy McDowell, and like Rob Reiner's in it.
Oh, it's Harold
as an
Ramis.
actor. Yeah, it's Harold Ramis, and just the concept is, like he's a real busy dad, and he finds a doctor who I believe is Rob Reiner, to like who clones him.
Oh man.
Not the best movie, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah, the poster is pretty funny.
Yeah. It shows all four versions of him,
hey,
right? It ruins that there's not just one clone. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it is written by Chris Miller.
With that?
Or okay, no, it's written by a different Chris Miller, actually.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's no.
But yeah, the
way
writing
they were in
credit
Hollywood at that time.
short story by Chris Miller, screenplay by Chris Miller. Yeah, funny that we got there.
One last thing of TV news, like actual TV news, and this is really weird. It's kind of up there with like the Anthony Mackie thing, like reverse PC. Laverne Cox, are you familiar with who that is?
Now go on.
No, she's a transgender actress. She's like on Orange is the New Black and a couple other things. I think she has like a talk show in the making. She's gonna be playing Frankenfurter in Fox's live Rocky Horror Show. Which is really weird. That means a transgender actress is playing a transvestite.
Okay.
Like what's the point? That's kind of like, I get it. Like, okay, Rocky Horror is weird enough that kind of concept can work. But like the thing about Frankenfurter is that it's a man who appears as a woman and, is trying to have sex with both men and women, and it's a romp, like it's very sexualized. When you have a man who's became a woman who's dressing up as a man who's pretending to be a woman, is that what it is?
Who knows how they're doing it? I mean, I'm a Rocky Horror virgin, so
okay.
Yeah, so
I've seen it.
I'm still
times.
waiting. Yeah, I'm not watching it on purpose because I want to go to one of those screenings. But
when you come back home, you should go to art theater. It's pretty good.
Oh, there's a couple here. Like,
no, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere.
No, it's
if you're in a major metropolitan city, you probably have at least one.
Yeah, no,
one venue.
It's one of those things. Like, I have to like go with a group of people, and because that just has to be...
to be honest, I wouldn't see it in a live setting like that for a first time. Because it does kind of ruin the movie, like having people yell at the screen and throw things, and then also...
Yeah, but that's how you have to see the room for the first time.
Maybe, but like having the performance on the stage, like ad-libbing and singing along, like you're not going to be watching the movie, you're going to be looking at performance art.
You won't, but I don't know, it just seems like that's the type of movie that, you kind of want to experience that way with a crowd for the first time, because like I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. That just seems like the more acceptable way of at least being exposed to it for the first time, because it's.
I think it's
if it's distracting enough, then I'll go back and watch it. But like on my own,
I think it would be distracting.
I'm sure,
but like it's a good enough musical that if you watch it on your own, like you'd still have a good time.
That's good. Yeah, The Room, it's kind of the opposite. Really well. You can get kind of restless.
I know that's a bad movie that you're supposed to watch with people while drinking. Like that's kind of the point of the movie.
Just
Whereas
throw plastic spoons.
Yeah, Rocky Horror is like an actual successful. It was on Broadway and like it did really well. And they made a movie.
All right, I'll get to it.
Like a shoestring budget.
I'll get to it. I mean, but for this, who knows what they're doing. Could work.
I mean, this is just them trying to take away from NBC, with their Sound of Music, Peter Pan. I think they did one other one. They're just trying to cash in on that, even though those don't even do that well. But Fox doesn't have many. They don't own many highly popular things. So
no, but I don't know. We'll see. It's not.
We got a couple. Okay. Well, I just thought it was really interesting, like how.
Like I can see why, but at the same time, like it's just, it's hardly. I don't know if transvestites, if someone that's transitional, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like if they're getting work, hey, that that's good for them, and if
Laverne Cox gets a lot of work, like good for her. Well, but I think this is a weird casting choice.
But we don't know. We don't know how they're doing it, and I think that's already a good sign that they're at least trying to do something different. But
sure.
I don't know. Who knows? They could do something. It could be great for all we know.
I don't plan to watch it, but it could be great. So a couple of tech items. Rumor has it that Time Warner Cable is testing their internet-only service starting tomorrow in New York City. So it's going to be just online cable. Beta testers are going to be getting the Roku 3 box to utilize the service. I'm assuming for free, but I don't know all the details. Like, this is a rumor. We'll find out tomorrow if it's a true thing. So cool. Like, potentially you're not going to have to actually have them come in and install the wiring and have the box.
Well, yeah,
hooked up to
I
your
mean,
TV,
that's
just a Roku and a display, or just
we've
a
said that before.
like a
Yeah, like
computer.
that's all going to phase out. Like,
Yeah, so this is like the first step that an actual service provider is taking in doing the internet set top box.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of coincides with YouTube. I'm sure you might have saw this. YouTube Red, they're making a $9.99 a month ad-free original content included Google Play Music bundled in subscription service. And so the idea is you don't have to sit through those 5 to 30-second ads before every show, and you also get original comedy plus whatever else they throw in there, plus the music,
Well, it
the
depends.
Spotify version.
I don't know how worth it'll be until, we'll see how good their original stuff is. But, as of right now, hey, I got ad blocks, so I'm good.
Well, I mean, I watch most of the time I watch YouTube on my phone now, so I wish that was the case for me. 'Cause it's pretty annoying with those fucking 5-second ads.
Yeah, but, I mean,
especially when you forget to like click the screen.
I don't know. It's pretty.
still remember
it's there. Like, it's easy to skip. If I see it, it's just instinct. I mean, I don't. I am not as annoyed by ads though as most people are. Like,
I'm
yeah.
annoyed. Like, we've talked about this before. I'm
Yeah.
annoyed by ads when I see the same one over and over again.
I don't know. I have selective hearing, which
Like-
is both a blessing and a curse. Like, I can
Like,
tune stuff out easily.
People would argue that this is kind of like invasion of privacy, but Google knows what I search for, right?
Oh yeah.
I can see my history. That means they can see my history. They know what kind of cookies I have, all that stuff. Why don't they just select the ads for things that I'd be interested in?
Well, they don't do that.
No, they don't do that.
Oh.
I mean, they kind of do on search results. When you Google something and the top 3 things, they kind of do that for that.
Yeah, but I mean, when ads
But
coming up on YouTube, you don't get that.
No, they don't do that. I mean, it's not like Hulu where you have a choice.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the algorithm's not that as good enough for that yet. Maybe we're still behind in that aspect.
One of the reasons I brought up YouTube Red is that people are already reacting to it. ESPN has removed their channel in response from YouTube. They don't need to be on YouTube. They already have, Watch ESPN and ESPN.com.
Wow.
And it is Disney. But yeah, maybe that's because of ad revenue. I don't know, but yeah, they removed themselves.
Well, it's. I mean, it's not Well, I mean, that's interesting because if it seems like God, how do I put this into words? Because it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of similar to this thought I've had before where I've talked about it where, even with Netflix, like more and more content's going to go away as, cable networks and studios get their stuff back and then they're going to do their own streaming services. Like, it just seems like it's kind of like an act like that of, okay, ESPN's going to push their own thing more instead of, counting on YouTube if they're going to start charging for their stuff.
I mean, they already do charge for their stuff. It is just part of cable bundle. So
yeah, it's just, I mean, if YouTube's not going to be free though in the way that we're used to now,
well,
that's
there's not going to be a change. I mean, I doubt. Well,
I'm sure there's going to be some kind of shift though. Like,
yeah, I mean, it obviously depends on what kind of numbers they get in terms of their subscribers, but I don't imagine huge YouTubers to switch to original content only through Red, where it's like, oh, you really like me? Like PewDiePie, for instance. He's not going to go, oh, you got to watch my stuff if you have a subscription now. That wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't, but I don't know why. Somehow I just wouldn't be surprised by it. Like
I said,
it's
on
me expecting
how,
the worst though out of this.
It depends on how well people react to the membership. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not really for me. So
well, yeah. I mean, well, I guess it just makes sense. I guess for big, really big networks or content providers like ESPN.
Well, Well, it does, but I mean, it's like I said, like the Google Play Music subscription is included, which alone costs like $10 a month. So it is a pretty good deal,
Oh
especially if
yeah.
you don't have Spotify. Like if you use Google Play's version, then you're essentially getting the removal of ads for free, plus original content down the road.
Oh,
If you
that's
look at it that way,
yeah.
which isn't a bad price. Um, One last thing in tech, and I got like one final thing to mention. Eli Roth's Crypt TV is hosting an Instagram short horror film contest. So Instagram videos are 15 seconds. You basically have, it's a 15-second film festival online. Like Quentin Tarantino, Jason Blum, Gaspar Noé, Eli Roth himself, some other people, they're going to be judging this. The winner gets $10,000, and they might let you like adapt it for TV itself. I think this is really cool considering Eli Roth also did that Snapchat only like murder mystery like 2 months ago. So he's really, really looking at social media and how like videos changing.
It's
in
kind
the
of funny
present,
that you got Tarantino in that judge's pool.
right? The
Yeah.
guy who watches shit on VHS and doesn't do Netflix.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was also at the New York City police brutality rally earlier today, so maybe things are changing. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I hope there's some good stuff because the idea is
You
like
gonna do it?
if you, I don't know.
Oh, come on, man.
But like the idea
You
is
have
that
the phone to
if
do it. Man.
you can. I do have a phone to do it with, even though my phone bent a couple of days ago. Like the frame is whatever. It's like, how's a glass device? It looks like a fucking iPhone 6 Plus. Like it's literally bent.
Might have worked to your benefit.
Maybe. The idea is that if you can set up a mood and have something eerie, you only need 15 seconds to do it, and you really do, because like if you're watching a scary movie, like just 5 seconds of silence with the right camera work is good enough.
Yeah.
So maybe like I'll look at the stuff. I'll look at the real guidelines. I mean, you have the phone to do it. Why don't you fucking do it?
I got an iPhone 4.
You got an iPad,
Yeah. It's an old
Yep.
one though.
so
I got a bunch of hand-me-down stuff, man.
hey, if the clarity's bad, if the resolution's bad, you know, say it's like found footage.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm lazy. That's
so
why I don't do it.
I got one last thing, and then we'll talk about our week.
$10,000 though.
It's pretty good.
Fuck, maybe I should try it.
Marvel's Phase 2 set has been revealed. I'm sure you saw the Phase 1 when it came out. Pretty cool looking. It was like the Tesseract with all
The
the stuff
set.
in it. This one doesn't look nearly as cool, but it is nice that they're continuing this like Ultimate Collector's Edition type thing. The Blu-ray set costs $220. I'm not sure about the DVD. I would guess like around 180, if there even is one.
No, I don't
also
think there
know if
was a
it's
DVD
3D.
one for Phase 1.
Yeah, I don't believe so either, because this is like you're buying this, period.
Yeah, I think they all have the 3D discs in there.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, this set doesn't look nearly as cool, but like I said, I do like that Disney is continuing this.
I mean, does it even have like a bonus disc or anything to make it worthwhile?
It's the same idea. It's like it's a physical artifact that you open up and take your disc out of.
Yeah,
I mean, not
it's
ideal for moving around, but
no, it's it's not surprising that they'll do this. This could be the last time that they do it too, because we don't know how big the format's going to be unless 4K Blu-ray really takes off.
no. Well, I mean, I still think they would do the next one on Blu-ray. There might be an extra one on 4K because like Phase 3 is not going to be over till like. Okay, like the Phase 3 set, if there is one, wouldn't be coming out till like 2021, 2022.
No, it's 2019 is when Infinity Wars Part 2 happens, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I just remember looking at the updated slate that they did a couple of weeks ago, and there were definitely 2020 dates.
No, they put in 2020 release dates for Phase 4. They claimed them, but
Was that Phase 4?
Yeah, they just claimed the dates though. They didn't say what the titles were. So I'm pretty sure that it closes out with either it's Infinity Wars Part 2 or with Inhumans. I don't know. But yeah, I think after 2019.
No, yeah, it's 2020.
Yeah, but
It's 2020.
yeah, those are for release dates though. It's not for Phase 3, is it?
Oh no, I'm on the Marvel Cinematic Universe wiki, and Inhumans comes out 2019.
Yeah, and that's the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The box set probably wouldn't come out till 2020 or 2021.
I don't know. Well, yeah, probably 2020 because they'd release it right at the end of Phase 3. But hey, I don't know. Who knows if we'll have that at that point?
Yeah. So that's all I got in news. That's the episode. I did watch a couple of things this week. I know you did. What did you see?
Okay. I saw. All right, starting with me, I saw quite a few really good things actually in the cinema. Every movie that I've seen has pretty much been great in some
you
way.
saw Steve Jobs because you're a fucking asshole.
What?
I want to see it. Like, if you said, oh, I'm going to go see it, I probably would have rushed out and watched it.
You really would have?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Well, okay, you don't have the same easy access to watching movies in the theater anymore, so... Well, I don't know, but anyway, okay, yeah, I did see Steve Jobs. That's actually, it's kind of fitting actually that I start with that because it's a great movie. It's probably my least favorite of the week that I saw, but, it's really... Like, it really is really great. I like the way that it's structured, just between
the 4 time events.
Yeah, it's
the 4
3
press
different
conferences.
time events. It's an interesting way of setting it up. It's not. I wouldn't say that this is a biopic. It's you're kind of catching him between 3 very key events in his life, and there's a lot of chaos happening behind the scenes as well as stuff in his personal life. And there's no way that any of this is at all the way that this stuff went down. It's clearly all historical fiction, but it does make for interesting drama. But the thing that this did remind me of was that it felt a lot like Birdman.
I've heard someone else say that.
Yeah, without any of the
people.
technical one shots, and that's because it's a lot of drama behind the scenes, backstage, between him and coworkers, and just him barking out orders. There's the father-daughter dynamic, and it's basically
the Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs thing.
It's basically about just they're kind of both about the same thing in that they're both about guys that are trying to create something very, very important, something very substantial,
and risking their personal lives to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's and it's I don't know, maybe it's just that because I thought Birdman was great, but for me it was a one and done. Every time it was kind of that movie that as people kept talking about it, I was like, okay, it's kind of overrated because everyone was saying the same thing about the camera work.
No one talks about it now.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, and okay, it's great that they managed to do it in one take, and I applaud it for being technically great like that, but that's not the reason why I thought it was great. I thought that was a stylistic choice that made sense because it took place in the theater and it actually helped the movie. But praising it for
the drumming was what made that movie so good.
Yeah,
when
the
they had that. The score, but when they did that cutaway and actually showed the drummer in the hallway, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's it is a great movie. I don't think I'm going to watch it anytime soon. Sorkin though wrote it. Sorkin dialogue is always fun.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender kills it. Really manages to make it work where it's just sometimes you like this guy, you like his ambition, and then you really hate him, and you constantly never really sure where to be back and forth because you're always just kind of
pause for a second. Imagine if Sony made this and Christian Bale was supposed to be Steve Jobs at one point.
He could have done it, and Fincher could have done it. Yeah,
that,
I mean, I don't know if Fincher would have made a more interesting movie just because he worked with Sorkin before, and that's not a knock on Danny Boyle, but Danny Boyle does some interesting stuff here stylistically, but it just I didn't. It didn't really pull me in the way that something like Slumdog did or 127 Hours did. It wasn't. It's not my favorite, but he does a really good job anyway. God, what? Yeah, Seth Rogen, really good.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's good. I mean, it's a side role,
a fat Jew, so he's got it going for him.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say it's not that demanding of a role, but he plays the sympathetic guy, and he does exactly what the role what the character is supposed to do, and it no one turns in a bad performance, I don't think so, but it's always a big deal when a comedian tries to act in something dramatic, but he does good.
You see, about a week and a half ago when Josh Gad was congratulating him on doing a better Steve Wozniak, Because if you
That
know,
was Josh
the
Gad
joke
in
was
the
that,
Ashton Kutcher one.
yeah. So like that was the joke. He's like, yeah, you did way better than I did, or something like that.
Well, he probably had the better material to do it because the other one is just a straight biopic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the one that was adapted from the biography that was the superseller.
Yeah, I mean, it's far more. It's very interesting the way that's put together, and I know that a lot of people love it, and for some people, it's their favorite movie of the year. I don't know, maybe it's overhyped, but I thought it was great. I just didn't. I didn't feel it was that amazing.
What else
So that's
did you
Steve
watch?
Jobs. I guess I'll just go in order from I guess from least favorite to most favorite. But the other thing I saw today, actually, I got around to seeing Crimson Peak.
I was at a Halloween party last night.
Uh-huh.
One of the people I was with, she was dressed as Mia Wasikowska or whatever her name is.
That's an interesting costume choice. I mean, all right, you told me this before that okay, it's not
a gothic
a horror
romance.
film, it's not a gothic romance, and you know what? You're right, kinda, because
Well, I mean, that's what
it's
Guillermo del
definitely
Toro said.
Yeah, he
himself.
said that.
It's from
I
the
saw him
horse's
say
mouth.
that later. Yeah, and it's definitely. I wouldn't say it's a horror film at all, and gothic romance is far closer to what it actually is. But I didn't really feel it was that either. I felt it was, for me, it was closer to being a kind of a suspense thriller with supernatural elements, and I really,
Let me
really
ask,
dug it
was
that
it
way.
was it close to the others? Does our episode still stand up?
In that there's, yeah, I mean there are the elements that are there. You can definitely connect the tissue to it, but no, it's not exactly. I guess thematically you can find similarities, but
I was reading a little piece in Entertainment Weekly, and he was like saying like his kind of inspirations or motivations behind the house and the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ones that he listed was Rebecca, Hitchcock film.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
go
so
on,
like,
because I'll add that
as
later.
little as I know about this movie, I did see Rebecca not too long ago, and I could totally see that where like the house
man.
is a character, and the painting, and this crazy bitch in the wings that's like
Yeah.
not all of a sudden, but basically trying to ruin their romance. And
I was-
that movie is like, it's very Hitchcockian,
Uh-huh.
but from a very different standpoint.
No, it is a Hitchcock film, so.
Like it is it's like personal dread and not like environmental.
Yeah, no, I was struggling to think, because that's why I bring up suspense thriller, because I did feel like there was a very specific plot point. I don't want to spoil it, but I was thinking like, God, this reminds me of a Hitchcock film. I just can't remember which one that you just said. I was like, okay, there it is. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I have seen the trailer a couple times, and there's that moment where she's like, I think there's a question raised like how many other people have lived here, or not how many, it's how many people have died here, and then like it's also hinted at that she's not the first wife.
Uh-huh. I mean,
So-
it's like, I really, as far as plot, it's not like there's elements that are really original, but it's the way that they're put together that I thought was really interesting. Even if at times, because it's definitely not a horror film, like, but the supernatural elements, if you're going in with that mindset of expecting it to be horror, then it can seem kind of just random, and like almost like the movie is kind of schizophrenic, like it doesn't know what it wants to be. But I felt like on its own terms it came in together in a way that really makes sense. I don't think it's a perfect movie, though. I mean, technically, it's great. Like, the score is really, really good. It has it gives it a nice atmosphere and a nice feel.
And the set design.
Oh yeah, the production design's absolutely beautiful. Like, I just love the old-fashioned feel. Like, this is the type of filmmaking, like, just the way it's presented. It's something that I have not seen since Francis Ford Coppola's version of Dracula, which I don't know if you saw that, but I really dug that movie.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I mean, I love the feel for that movie. But
You know that most of the effects in that movie were done in camera.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what makes it feel like a nice throwback. And here it's kind of similar. But what I really, really took away from this is that there are so many really, really good performances here. Like, it's just as an actor's movie. Like, it's it's really, really well acted, like, which is kind of, for an American film by Del Toro, is kind of saying a lot, because I mean, I like Hellboy and I love Pacific Rim, but his writing skills have not been translated that well when they cross the border, at least compared to his Spanish-speaking stuff. But Jessica Chastain, she just fucking killed it, man. Like, she was absolutely great. Like,
she's like the, not the maid, but basically like the chambermaid, like the person who runs the house basically on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, the person that's in charge. Like, she just,
yeah.
I had trouble pointing out like who that was actually at first, because I thought it was Eva Green for a bit, and then I wasn't sure, but
they don't look anything like one another.
No, but Jessica Chastain doesn't have she doesn't have red hair in this, so I mean, yeah, it's a really, no, she just fucking went. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's a really good movie. It's very, for me, it was very refreshing. I'm not surprised to see that a mass audience is not embracing this as much as people would have hoped. I don't think the cinema score is that high either. I think it's like at a C+ or a B- or something like that.
Yeah, it's not making money, and most people that I know that have seen it have said not too good things about it.
Yeah, like, it's going to polarize people for sure.
But I mean, I think I've said this before. I didn't really like Pacific Rim, so I don't know where Guillermo del Toro stands currently. Obviously, the Pacific Rim sequel has been like killed, or at least really put on the back burner. So I hope he has something else lined up. I mean, obviously, The Brood is still on TV, so he's got that going for him.
And he's working on his low budget.
He's killing Twitter. He's really fucking good at Twitter. So yeah. Like, I recommend following him to everyone. Real GDT. All he does is make recommendations like every single day. Like, here's a movie you should watch. Here's a book you should read. Here's an artist you should check out. Today he added comics to his list. He was sharing pictures of his office earlier this week. He shared 12 pictures. Really, really cool working environment. Best thing about the internet from the last couple of months was him joining Twitter.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, like, Del Toro, he's one of those guys where I look forward to his work. I don't necessarily love the stuff that he does. You're not
necessarily a fan, but you like who he is.
Yeah, it's like, just as a personality, like, I just like seeing what the guy does, and I generally like what he does. I'm not as obsessed over it as other people are. But I mean, this is definitely one of the best things that he's ever done. Like, and it's just kind of amazing that he got to make it at the studio budget that he made it at. And it's just awesome that exists. And I do actually look forward to watching it again at some point. I mean, like, it really, I thought it was really, I don't think it's perfect, but there is so much there that's great that, I do want to rewatch it again eventually. Like, so
this is basically another case of studios marketing it the wrong way.
Yeah, but you can't blame them either, though, because you got to get butts in seats. Like, I don't know how else, like, seeing the movie for what it is, how else are you going to market this out to people? But I can fully understand why it would put people off. Yeah.
2 movies down. What else did you see?
I saw Bridge of Spies, which I did not expect to like it as much as I did, but dude, I really thought it was, like, I thought it was pretty great. Like, at least as far as I don't know where you stand on Spielberg, because I know that a lot of people
kind of cooled off on him.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people are just kind of over his later stuff, and I thought this was the best thing I've seen him do since Munich. Like, I mean, just the...
See, I barely liked Munich. I really liked Tintin.
Yeah, Tintin's really good. Like, but, I mean, just this, like, in a lot of ways, like, just the premise is too good to not be invested into it in some way. And just the way that he approaches it, like, it's so... I have not seen him do something that... where just I really felt his hand, like, carefully guiding, like, just the way that scenes are set up, the way that scenes are blocked. Like, with Lincoln, I just never got the sense that there was that confident of direction. In Lincoln, it was just kind of, okay, let's just let these actors work. Warhorse was, well, I don't know. That's Spielberg porn, I guess. It was just way too sentimental for me. Like, here... just the moment that it opens, like it just felt like a Spielberg movie, and just the
Was
way
that because of Tom Hanks or?
no, I mean, well, he's not even in the movie for like the first 5 minutes. Like it's just basically the guy getting followed by the FBI, and just the way that those scenes are handled, like it's just right away you feel like, oh man, this is why he is one of the best directors around, because no one can block a scene like him. I mean,
It feel like a spiritual successor to Catch Me If You Can.
in a way, yeah, definitely. I guess it's definitely one of the better ones with Tom Hanks. I wasn't
Well,
that
they're all good. So
I wasn't that big on Private Ryan, but aside from the
they're all
opening
good.
scene, hey, the opening scene's great, but come on, the rest of the movie, is it really that good?
I like to think it is.
Just saying, man.
It's not amazing, but it's pretty damn good.
I mean, and also just I felt in a way it was very timely to like just because just seeing the way that people react when in this it's set during the Red Scare and people are just freaking out over Tom Hanks defending this guy, and like it's funny, like we always joke around like oh, people suck, but like, yeah, people as a collective, the way that they just freak out over everything just because they want to feel safe, like it just got me thinking of like all the stuff that people are just willing to forego, like just basic American rights, like that we're willing to just take away just for the sake of having things happen just so we can feel safe. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not, because I don't know, it's been like 4 days, the movie's fading from my mind a little bit. I mean, yeah, just it really got me thinking on that. And also, the Coens wrote the script, and there's some great back and forth banter, especially since it's about negotiation about a trade of trying to trade these two spies from different nations in over Berlin. Like there's a lot of great back and forth as they're working that stuff out, and it's just a touch that I love. And while he's in Berlin, and there's little things of him having to deal with the weather, and just he's being forced to stay at a crappy place while all the agents are at like a nice Hilton hotel because he's not officially represented by the government, and he's got to travel around without a coat because he keeps getting stolen, and he's in the cold, and he desperately wants to go home. And that's something that I feel the Coen brothers do, because they love to beat up their protagonists and torture them. And although here it doesn't feel like it's, because it's Spielberg directing, it feels like he's more sympathetic to the stuff that Tom Hanks is going through. But I don't know, it was just little touches like that I love, just because, it really works for the end when they finally, spoilers for real life, but when they finally, when the ending comes up, you really do get that sense of like, okay, you felt that moment, that sense of achievement. Although, if I got like a tiny complaint, it's probably that the last 5 minutes are so goddamn sentimental, like to the point where it felt corny, and that's, Spielberg does that.
Spielberg.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't blame him, but then maybe it's also because it's, I don't know, Thomas Newman's score, like, just, this is the guy that composed Shawshank, and if you want to talk about like an overly sentimental score, like especially at the end, that's one of them. I mean, it seems like, I don't know, Newman might try to pull the heartstrings a bit more harder than Williams. Like John Williams would know when to pull back, I want to say.
We'll find out with Star Wars.
Yeah, which by the way, this is like the first movie in a long time that Steven Spielberg and John Williams have not worked together.
Because he's probably busy on Star Wars.
That's exactly why. I mean, which that's a bummer, but Thomas Newman does a good job. Hey, I like it when Spielberg and Williams work together. But I mean, yeah, it's just, I think it's one of the best movies of the year. Like, it could end up on my top 10, probably near the bottom, but it was just really nice, like, seeing a great Spielberg flick, and just, I mean, just watching this all play out, like, it's really really good. I was pretty tense in a few scenes, and I mean, Tom Hanks is just he's always been a charismatic guy on screen, and he really does what he does best on screen. So it's kind of the movie that you would expect for it to be, but in this case, I think that's a good thing.
I wonder who our next star everyman is. Is it Chris Pratt? Like no one's really been able, like Tom Hanks hasn't passed the torch yet. There hasn't been the next one. Like there isn't the young version.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Tom Hanks does, he started out in comedies, so maybe if Chris Pratt tones it down a bit.
I don't know.
Just saying, could be.
It's like America always needs that everyday guy, that Joe Schmo, the blue collar hero.
Yeah, 5 years from now, you could. That's a good guess, actually. You could see Chris Pratt going for the Oscar 5 years from now.
Because I mean, you had Jimmy Stewart, and there was like a big gap. Robert Redford was kind of it for a little bit too, but he was more of the really good looking guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was between Jimmy Stewart and Tom Hanks. So there's like a 40-year gap there, like 30. So I don't know. Maybe there wasn't one.
Nah,
It'd be interesting to see who's next in line.
Yeah, maybe I wanted to say Cary Grant, maybe, but no, that's who George Clooney is compared to.
Yeah, he was more of the George Clooney. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bachelor.
Anyway, though,
gets everything right.
All right, but the last one, the one that I really, really just
Here
fell in love
come
with.
the Men in Black.
Well, that's for later.
Oh, it's not that one. Okay.
No, Room. Yeah, I saw Room, and
yeah, don't say anything about it. Yeah,
no,
really
okay.
great. It's really depressing. I don't want to know. I want to see it.
okay, because I guess all I saw was the teaser, and then unfortunately,
I haven't seen the teaser. I know nothing about it. I just know that there's a 9-year-old that acts his ass off, and that Brie Larson's going to win Oscar.
Yeah, and then here's the thing: is like, at my screening for Steve Jobs. I mean, the day before, they showed the final theatrical trailer, and I was planning on seeing it the next
one
day.
With all
it
the
has
quotes where it's like
yeah,
best performance ever. Can't believe we never knew this girl. Oscar bait.
It basically just had like a major plot point in there that was spoiled for me, and it doesn't. That. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil what it is, but I really wish I didn't know
Guess
it.
What,
but
guys,
it doesn't.
The kid dies.
It doesn't make the movie any better. And what are you talking about, dude?
I don't fucking know.
Anyway, yeah, but I'm sure a lot of people that read the book, they're not going to care. But I mean, just straight up, I got to say, this is like, I can't decide what my favorite movie of the year is. It's like a 3-way tie, and this is one of them. But it's great, dude. Like, you got to see it. Like, maybe if we can get a review out.
I want to see it.
But
I mean,
it just.
I don't know if I'm gonna go see
this
in theaters, but I'll probably find a screener somehow.
Dude, I thought it was tremendous. Like, you got to see it, man. Like, it's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I've talked up Brie Larson over the last couple episodes. Like, it's obvious.
Oh no, this is a breakout.
She's, you know how young she is?
Yeah, she's like a year.
She's like 26.
Older. Yeah, she's like a year older than us.
She's like 26, 27.
I mean, I know Short Term 12, that was a breakout, but this is okay, no, now you have to give this one attention. Like, this one is, it's so good, man. Like, it just honestly, it destroyed me by the end.
That's a consensus. So I watched 5 things.
Okay.
Most of them within the genre of my Halloween-a-thon or Shocktober, whatever the fuck people call it. The first of which was Day of the Dead, which I was watching. It wasn't necessarily on my list, but it was on my next Netflix queue. When I was watching, I felt like I've seen some of this before. Maybe it was in one of those Bravo specials, or maybe I was flipping channels and I saw this scene, especially with Bub, with him reading or picking up the gun. But when I was watching, the further I got along, I realized that I had seen it before. And that doesn't happen often. I almost never forget that I've seen a movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm watching it like this, and I'm like, have I seen this before? But no, this was 100% at the end where I was like, oh, nope, yep, I've seen this one. And it's like you commented on Letterboxd. It is because it's the most forgettable.
Of the
not
three,
just of the trilogy, not just of the trilogy, but also of I haven't seen The Diary of the Dead, but I've seen Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead's better than this.
Oh, yeah.
I really like
those two.
I really like the stuff with Bub. I think he's awesome. He's kind of showing sentience in the dead. But everything else is just so whiny. And I get it, they're underground and humans can't live with one another, and they're doing experiments, but the zombies can. They're gonna kill you because you can't work it out. But there's so much weird shit in this movie. The fact that it opens with a black dude and a white chick in a helicopter. When that's exactly how Dawn of the Dead ends, it's wait, is this a sequel? I'm not sure. And the way it ends with the happy ending, but which could be a dream sequence because there is some really weird closure. I don't know. There's some really good moments here like
Yeah.
the arms coming out of the wall and people getting like ripped apart with intestines, which are actual like pig intestines, and like the sheer amount of people on screen in some moments. But like I'm not a fan of Night of the Living Dead, but compared to Dawn of the Dead, this is like not shit, but
It just doesn't live up to
not
either of
yeah,
those.
it's not that good of a watch. Like even upon especially on a rewatch.
I mean,
There's not really anything here that you need to see.
yeah,
It's
like
not
I don't
special.
remember the kills being that great, except for
There's a couple that are pretty cool.
except for the main antagonist
the
at the end.
baddie,
Like but
the officer.
that's only because he's just so whiny, and you want to like
Yeah,
step on him, or you just want to like I don't know, see horrible things happen to the
I
guy.
liked the Hispanic dude getting his arm cut off. That looked really really gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, I have not seen the movie in forever, but it's just it really isn't as good. I mean, it's kind of forgettable, but I mean,
Like
yeah,
I
clearly
was
you
reading
couldn't
about the
remember it,
production,
yeah.
and there's like stuff going on. Like when he submitted the script, he wanted about twice the budget that he got, and this is basically what happened. So, like this is what people know to have happened. They told him, okay, either you can shoot it the way we want, and we'll give you the full budget, all 13 million or whatever that you want, or you do it your way and you get half the money. And he went, okay, I'll do what you want. Give me the money.
Oh man, I was gonna say if it was the other way around, then he would have gotten a lot for that small budget. Because I mean, yeah, for an underground location, like yeah, it looked good, but wow, that's a bummer.
That was a real mine.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I don't know.
yeah,
Just
it
not
looked
a
really
bad
good, but-
movie, but I still personally think it's better than the first in the trilogy, just in terms of watchability. Because like, no offense, but that movie puts me to sleep. I don't know if it's because it's black and white or the fact that there's not much happening,
They're coming
or the
to
fact
get
that there's
you, Brian.
yeah, like it is like a
Thousands of
spooky
screaming,
concept.
angry fanboys
And if
are coming
it was,
to get you,
I don't give a shit. If it
Brian.
was like, look, if I saw that movie as a kid, or if it was like 1965 and it was the first when it aired, or not aired, but
They're
when
coming
it
for you.
debuted, I would have fucking probably loved it because there wasn't a
Look,
zombie. in
there comes one of
existence.
them
Like,
now.
The zombie didn't exist, but now it really, really, really doesn't live up. Like it doesn't work as well. Like the commentary on the South and racism, that works. The movie, not really.
I enjoy the movie, but it's always been with that context of okay, this is like
It's an allegory.
but I mean, just like I saw it before I could even comprehend that stuff, but I was always aware of like, okay, this came out in 1968. It's in black and white. Like it's not going to be as gory yet, but even then, like, every time I've seen it, like, and I haven't seen it forever, but like, yeah, my expectations were set pretty far down, and so the stuff that they got away with still made a pretty big impression on me. Of just like, whoa, like, this
But,
is
I
like,
mean, it's not
this is like 50s level acting, and like, it's
the
that
commentary
bloody.
in that movie isn't nearly anywhere where Dawn of the Dead is. Like
No, yeah, but I
just
mean,
the final images of the humans all being gone or dead, and the zombies still walking around the Monroeville Mall. Like that's so fucking awesome. Like and there's like someone says something like there's voiceover. It's like even after they're dead, they still have to do their habits. They still have to shop.
yeah. I mean,
It's
I like
especially
Night
at
of
the
Living Dead, but
time.
Night
Like
of the Living
right
Dead,
right
it's
at the
it's
beginning.
that first movie, though.
But right at the beginning of like the Reagan era, like Reaganomics, to have that kind of like political commentary out there, like not even like socio-political. I don't know. We're getting off topic. Consumerism. And
No,
shit.
everyone knows that that's what the commentary
yeah.
is on there.
So
It's
I
pretty
followed
obvious.
that up. The same day, I like went to sleep on Day of the Dead, and then I watched it the next day. That same night, I watched the James Franco, not necessarily documentary, not necessarily a recreation, but it's called Interior Leather Bar. The concept is he made this project while he was shooting the Great and Powerful Oz, where he was like recreating the 40 minutes that were cut from William Friedkin's Cruising.
Which, have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that about a year ago, and that's why I wanted to see this. It was in my instant queue for a while. This isn't what it says it is. It's more of a documentary, or kinda like it shows some footage from the stuff that they did. but it's kind of just like James Franco trying to, like, he's talking on screen, like he's a subject, he's himself, but he's basically saying, like, why can't I be in a Disney movie and make a movie about gay sex? Like, why is that taboo? I don't know. Like, it had like an okay message, and it's short enough. It's like 59 minutes, but there is non-simulated gay sex on screen. So I'm sure a lot of people would avoid this, but it was pretty interesting for what it was. Like, just the concept behind it. Like, it isn't a straightforward movie. Like, it is an experiment.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, the stuff that I'm reading is, okay, the top popular review right away on Letterboxd, it's 1 star, and the first word is James Franco needs to be stopped.
He does make some weird
yeah,
shit.
I mean, it seems quite polarizing, like, and he made this while he was making Oz at the same time.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like he likes to keep busy, and it sounds
I like the
experimental.
concept. Yeah, it's an experimental film. Like I said, it's short. It's not exactly a documentary. It's not exactly a recreation. It's kind of somewhere in between. It is a movie. Like, there's a script here. I would assume, because they have like
joke though too of just James Franco doing more pretentious stuff.
Yeah.
But
well, this isn't really pretentious. This is pretty accessible. It's just it's accessible in its concept, not in its
audience appeal.
Yeah, in its content. Like, it's not. No one's gonna watch this. But I did.
Well, how'd you track it down?
It was on Netflix, and I knew it was there. It was in my queue, and I just wanted to get rid of it. I watched 3 other things. I did like an Adam Wingard double feature. I saw The Guest and You're Next. The Guest was fucking awesome.
All right. I still have to see it, but
there was some issues. It's on Netflix. There were some issues I had in the middle. Like, they kind of go, and it had, like, as weird as it is to say, there's some ties between this and American Ultra, and so there's like some government stuff that happens towards the middle, which seems a little bit out of place, but then it works, especially because the government agency is like PKG is an entity in his films. Like, it's mentioned in Your Next, and I think it's also mentioned in VHS 2. So it's like something that I'm sure he'll like make that bigger in something else he does down the line. But really solid 80s feel, like, horror thriller. Like, the way it's kind of pitched is it's a horror film with a thriller's pace, which is totally what it does. It's kind of like that Hitchhiker movie, which I haven't seen, but I'm familiar with, where it's like you pick up this really charming guy who seems really nice and perfect, and then he's not. But yeah, the music in this is really great. Something that's really interesting, Dan Stevens is great. I didn't even know who he was before seeing this. The star of It Follows is in this, and
I was gonna say I know there's a lot of connections there. Like, I think some of the same crew are also in.
Maybe. I mean, it definitely has a similar.
Some of the same people that are working on it, but
it has a similar vibe to it. Like, this has a much bigger budget, and like it's much it's grander, and it's set in reality for one thing. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Really, like, it is not perfect. Like, there's some things that it like flubs, like I said, like with the government stuff going on towards the middle. But I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, really great casting. Like, you almost hate cheering against this guy, and you kind of like, I wasn't, like, when he starts killing people, it's like, I don't give a shit. Like, he's still really. Like, he has such good charisma, and he looks so good, and his eyes are so piercing blue. It's like, I still like you. And so, yeah, I followed that up with Your Next, which is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I think you tried to guide me away from that a couple of weeks ago.
I don't know, a little bit, maybe lower expectations, because it's weird. I'm kind of in between on thinking it's. Like, half of it's badass, and the other half is just total hipster trash. Like,
it was like, I liked it. Like, it was definitely mumblegore. Like, I mean, for one thing, Joe Swansburg is in it.
I think like,
playing a real douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, there's some cool stuff that, like, one plot twist, like, that's really awesome that happens about halfway through. That was just unexpected. But everything before that, like when they're sitting at the dinner table, and I can't remember what the conversation is, but just like, oh, so you have a job where you make money, or
Yeah, I know.
it was something like that. And
Joe Swanberg is basically making fun of his younger brother because the girl he brought to dinner used to be one of his students and one of his TAs.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty weird, but I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought the gore was really fucking cool. There were some really good kills.
Oh yeah,
the story was original enough. Like, it was a good enough turn on the genre without being like completely weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Like, I did actually, like, I walked away feeling like, okay, that was good, and there's some great stuff in there, but I don't. There is a lot of stuff also that was just rubbing me the wrong way. Like, as far as just, I don't know, some characters just being like total idiots, and
yeah. Well, I mean, it is a horror film. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just seemed like it felt forced. Like, like someone is like purposely written to be an idiot as opposed to actually just being an idiot.
But I mean, like that moment where the girl's running out the front door and she gets her neck sliced by the piano wire. That was so cool.
Oh man, yeah.
It didn't look like the gore didn't look convincing, but it was still like just the concept. I was like, why didn't the head fucking come off? That would have been, or it was like on a flap, like it was barely there.
No, but I gotta say that, I mean, just without saying what it is, when that main like plot twist happens, like.
Yeah.
It just becomes fucking awesome after that.
I really like, what's her name? Is it Zoe? No, because there's someone else named like Z or something. But the main girl who becomes the protagonist.
She was foreign, right? Yeah,
yeah, she was Australian. She was great. Like I really liked her. Like I'd like to see her in like a similar role in a much like more fleshed out character study. But like it was a really interesting take on the final girl.
You think that could be Captain
kind
Marvel?
Of. Maybe. I've
they're
never read
looking.
Captain Marvel.
I'm just saying, they're looking for
shit.
female superheroes, so that is
Ronda
one.
Rousey.
Or Ronda Rousey wants it, but
yeah. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good change of pace to the killers having the upper hand. It's like, well, what happens when you have a survival badass who can kill better than you can?
Yeah, no, I mean that was a nice twist. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. What specific issues I had with it. I know
there was some weird dialogue, and the characters did seem like really dumb.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just know like it wasn't as perfect as people told me it was going to be, but it's a good, promising start, especially like, and I do want to see The Guest still. So
yeah,
hopefully
there's
I'll
connections
enjoy that
between the two. Like I said, the PKG, when they're driving to the dad's house and you're next, he's like, oh yeah, he used to be a contractor for PKG. Mm-hmm. That's a company that's shown in The Guest. There's also someone at a party in The Guest wearing one of the animal masks on their head. You see the text "You're next" written in blood in one of the scenes. So like he's definitely trying to create like his own like shared
universe,
universe,
like
or,
Tarantino,
like something like that. So I have seen VHS. And I didn't love it, but I liked it, and so I'll probably check out the sequel. Or maybe ABC's The Death sometime soon too, even though I know that's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't want to see that shit.
Mm-hmm. And then the last
final
thing
I saw. Yeah, the final thing I saw, which is probably going to make us go way over time, I saw the first Paranormal Activity, a.k.a. the thing that started the trend of found footage over the last decade.
Well, there were other things before that, but
yeah, well, I mean, there were other things. Yeah,
specifically low budget.
Yeah, there was Cloverfield and there was Blair Witch Project, but this is the real one that made everything happen. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I thought it was really boring. I was falling asleep on it. I had to wake myself up. As soon as the movie ended, I was fully awake. But while watching, I was like, this is fucking stupid. There's only 2 people in it. Their dialogue doesn't seem realistic. They keep this woman Katie keeps calling her boyfriend by his name, even though it's just them. Like, who does that? Like, if I'm I haven't used your name once this whole conversation. If I was just like, "Yes, Steve, I'm totally with you. I agree with you, Steve. Wait, what are you talking about, Steve? I can't understand you." Like that's kind of how the dialogue in this movie is, and part of it is that
movie
there was
dialogue
no
in
script.
general is people get well. Okay, yeah, but
I mean, maybe it's because they didn't have a script. They kind of, they did the mumblecore, like, here's the context, just go along with it, and also, the actors'
I do think there was
names
some
are the
good
character names,
there
and
was
they
some
are
good back and
directing it.
forth. Like as in I did feel like okay, that actually it seemed like a pretty somewhat solid relationship. Like I at least believed it, but
I mean, I didn't. Like, at no point did I actually buy two things, and this kind of took me out of it the whole time. Number one, like, the idea, I understand why this was such a big success, because not only the way it's shot, but also the story and the relationship and what happens, like, it seems very realistic. Like, it seems that this is something that could happen. And because of the medium, because it was shot in found footage, and they're holding the camera, like, it makes it more viable. But the fact that people that aren't married would be living in a house this size, and that they're never out of the house as far as you can tell.
yeah.
Like, he's a day trader who only works from home, and she's going to school, but you never see her doing schoolwork. They have one friend that comes over sparingly. Like, why didn't they take the camera out? Like, I don't know. It's me nitpicking, I guess. But
It is, I mean, you can make that complaint about any movie in general, but yeah, no, I get you. Like, there's always that one where you realize, how are you able to afford all this stuff, and what do you do? Like, yeah,
like,
no,
you have
I
a
get
real,
you.
like, there's that line. She's like, "Where'd you get that camera?" He's like, "Oh, it was about half the money I made today." I was like, okay, that kind of explains the house, but why would you buy a house this big for you and your girlfriend? Like, why aren't you married? Like, what kind of, how didn't you know that she had some demon following? Like, he has that line where he's like, "You don't think this is something that you'd mention on, I don't know, our 15th or our 30th date?" Or now? Like, whatever. I just... There were some legitimate scares here. Like, there was some very spooky... Like, I did listen to it with my headphones in the simulated 5.1. The ambience...
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it was pretty unnerving, any of the night scenes when they're sleeping. Like, whatever... It's not white noise, but whatever room tone effects they did, like, it was pretty
Oh
scary.
yeah,
Like,
no, just that hum, like
that hum. Like, there's some serious tension that's built up, some anticipation, because something's going to happen at night, and nothing happens until about halfway into the movie. Like, it's like night 10 or like night 8 or something. But whatever they did to that room tone to make it sound that way, like, not nails on a chalkboard, but
it's
pretty
just,
intimidating.
It's fucking unnerving. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, here's the key thing for me is because I'm halfway with you, but that whole entire series, like the way that I've decided to approach it, I might see the sixth one. I don't know, but
I want to see it. I told you, so that trailer in 3D, it looks fucking scary. Like, it scared me. The trailer scared me because the 3D effects. Like, it's shot with a 3D camera. It's not post.
The key thing about Paranormal Activity is, like, I don't think it's going to have a long shelf life because those movies are all about the audience experience for me. Just because it's like I tried, after like the first one, at some point it hit streaming like a few months like before the second movie came out. And I was like, oh, I'll brush up and rewatch the first one. And the first one fucking terrified the shit out of me when I first saw it. And I tried rewatching it at home and off TV speakers, and it just didn't have that same effect because you could not get that like freaking like really low pitch hum to fucking creep up on you. And that's also I had a great experience watching the first one because it was on like I think it was only on like 100 screens or something and I went to a midnight screening and it was filled with a bunch of people, and it was when they were building up that whole you have to demand this movie
It's real,
be shown,
guys.
and that was all I knew. Like, I didn't watch the trailer at all, which thank God I didn't because it gave away every big moment in the movie. And holy shit, like, just it was so great seeing that movie with a crowd because everyone felt it. Like, I mean, the daytime scenes may have bothered you, but like, just it really, for me, like, just because my fear level kept rising when I was watching the movie for the first time, like, those scenes felt safe, and then every time it cut to night, there was just that moment where everyone in the crowd's just feeling, and they're like, oh no, and you're just waiting for something like and it really got to me. Like, it's all because of that freaking hum. Like, it's, you know that something's in the room. You can't see it, but you can just sense it because of the sound, because it's like all the speakers around you are just like shooting out that same hum, and you just feel something creeping up like over your shoulder. It's so fucking unnerving. And like, even to the point, I remember this specifically, like, you could hear someone drop some sort of glass bottle up in the front, and everyone jumped, like, yeah, and it freaked people out, like. Honestly, like, and you know, the big, I honestly did, like, shout, like, a couple times, like, first one, the board, like,
the big jump scare.
yeah, like, oh yeah, for the big one, because I did not see any clips, and I was like, yeah, I was waiting for something, and it just shot out, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck, and
yeah, that Ouija board sequence was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that, like, flame came up, I was like, fuck,
yeah,
like,
this was the thing, though, like, what kind of douchebag is this guy? Like, it was almost like, I know there are people out there like him.
Yeah.
But how horrible of a person, like, you can tell that your girlfriend is seriously terrified about what's going on. Like, it's not a joke. Like, she's freaking out. Like, she calls this psychic guy to the house and all this shit and is trying to get an appointment with a demonologist and whatever, and like telling you all this personal stuff about, oh, guy whispering and feeling the nape on my neck and all that stuff. And she says, don't get a Ouija board, like, 3 times, then you fucking get one.
Yeah.
And she was totally right. She was like, you got, like, the most badass looking one I've ever seen. You know? Like,
no, I mean,
it's movie logic.
It's true. Like, I think though, because for me, it was specifically an experience. When you're looking from a character standpoint, it's like, oh, well, fuck you, but then again, like, that's the best memory that I'll ever have of that movie, and I will never watch it again because I want to leave it at that experience. And it goes for the other sequels that I saw, because I only saw them in a theater, and they will never live up to the time that I saw the first one. But you know, they had a similar effect in some way. Like, you know, the last one, I didn't see the marked ones, but. And I did actually, I decided to stop with 3. The only reason I stopped Paranormal Activity 4 is because they had a screening at school for it, and I was at that. And even
those are the marked ones, right?
No, that was just the 4th one. Marked ones was the spin-off one. I didn't see that, but the 4th one they showed in Gary's class, and you know, there were moments in there where, like, I felt the anticipation of, like, you know, oh man, something's gonna happen, but then by the time something did, like, it was just, it didn't leave the same impression. So I know for me, like, that's just probably something that I'm an easy, you know, scare for, is when you just have that camera lingering and then you got that sound just creeping in, because it's just so fucking unnerving to listen to. And if there's a good payoff behind that, I know, like, it can work. Like, and I know for found footage movies now, like, they'll do something similar, just like build up let the subwoofer shoot up. And even if it's a bad movie, like, and I'll criticize it, like, you know, I'll still feel in that moment like it's working on me. It's a cheap trick. It's like a jump scare, kind of, because I know like, I'm gonna react to it no matter what now. But goddamn, for that first movie just specifically, like, I'm with you. Like, they say some stupid shit, but just the experience of watching it and, like, being into those moments, like, I couldn't really care if the acting was so bad during those daytime scenes, because that, like, the night stuff and just the feeling around the room, it was just so fucking terrifying that you just felt safe right away when it was daytime. And then, of course, over time, then, you know, that went away because daytime started feeling a little less safe.
Yeah.
And
well, there also wasn't much daytime.
I mean,
like, the last 30 minutes.
I had trouble sleeping the first time I saw that
movie.
I'll be fucking.
I thought there was a couple things that worked really well in this movie. One of them being that there isn't any credits at all. Like, it opens with the warning text, and it starts. There's no Paramount logo. There's nothing. There's no closing credits. There's no director credits. Like, it almost had, like, a Dogma 95 vibe to it, because it all was shot in camera. There obviously were effects, but the whole no credits, no external light sources,
like,
the
whole thing at the
stuff.
beginning of, like, you know, the San Diego Fire Department, like, it
felt
like a legit found footage movie.
It did have that feel to it, and like I said, when you find out the actors' real names are the character names, but, like, I don't know, maybe if I saw this in a theater when it came out,
really
like,
is.
I would have had a favorable experience. But I was watching, I was just like, this is exactly what I thought it was.
Like, I
Like,
imagine...
it was a
yeah.
little, like, it was pretty scary. Like, I knew it was going to be scary, but, like, I was hesitant to watch it when I did, and I kind of wish I hadn't now. But I had, like, it is an essential film, like, especially in the horror genre in the last 10 years. Like, it is important. Even if the things that followed it, the other found footage movies that have come since, also aren't that good. It is, it's not groundbreaking, but it's vital.
Yeah, I mean, your reaction is honestly one of the reasons why I just have no desire to see Blair Witch, because it's not because people keep telling me that shit. It's, but I seriously, after seeing the first Paranormal Activity in the theater, I totally understand why that would freak so many people out, like, and especially in a theater, because even if, just the unified fear, like, it can, if other people are getting scared, then that can just spread around the room and it can get to you. And
the difference is, though, that Paranormal is like a true horror film.
yeah,
Like, there are some scary moments,
and I don't
like,
know what Blair Witch does.
There's jump scares, whereas Blair Witch, there's really nothing. Like, the movie is just these 20-year-olds, like, I think they're 19, 20, whatever, like, filmmakers walking through the woods trying to find this urban legend witch or whatever, like, trying to find where they're killed and all that. There really isn't anything scary that happens. You don't really see anything. It's just kind of unnerving, and the fact that at the time there really wasn't a found footage movie. Like, it didn't exist. Like, yeah, there's Cannibal Holocaust that no one saw, and it was from the 70s. But then in 1999 you have this movie.
Yeah, but I mean,
and it really, really, because of the way it was filmed, like, it seemed real, and like that didn't exist really in Hollywood, and so, like, it's less important, but it's also, like, I wouldn't say it's a must watch.
I mean, it definitely got to some people, though, and I can understand, like, why and how the found footage gimmick would work for that. And I mean, that's my main takeaway from the Paranormal Activity series, is it's definitely a thing of its time, and I'm glad that I saw it when I did, because I was one of the people that, was responsible for building up to that hype, and if I saw it after that, then it just wouldn't have the same effect on me. Like, so it's really just a screening that I'll take with me to my grave, because you can have a great time with it. It's just, it really is something that you just had to be there for.
It was interesting. I like never listen to NPR, but one of the few times I ever have, and it's like, this is very relevant to this. I was working on campus at Cal State Long Beach, and I was in a computer lab. So no one would be in there, and so I was just listening to NPR, and it just so happened that they had Jason Blum, or it could have been Oren, what's his name, the director.
Oren Peli?
Yeah, it could have been him, but I believe it was Jason Blum, and they were just asking him, like, so you have this movie, it's a huge hit, it's making all this money, and how much did you shoot it for? Like $20,000? He's like, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Oh, like, plus marketing. So,
which was basically free. I mean, God, Paramount did fucking backflips. Like, oh, you want this
buying
movie?
The camera.
You have to demand it.
Like, that was
for a movie that they were planning on releasing anyway.
Yeah,
like that's insane.
Like, they were just asking him questions about, like, the budget and, like, how he got it made and the hype behind it. And I wish I still remembered. I'm sure you could find this interview or similar ones like it, because it really did start his empire. Like, the Blumhouse didn't exist back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just, he was a producer. And look where he's at now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you got fucking Sinister, Insidious, The Purge,
Creep,
The Visit. Got what is it?
Too many things.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it very cheap. I mean, Blumhouse is kicking ass.
Like, he kind of is the only one making horror now.
I mean, it's not just horror. He's also helping, like, smaller stuff. He produced.
He's expanded,
Stretch, which got a Netflix only release.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that movie got screwed theatrically, but I mean, yeah, it's it's not just horror. He's helping, like, smaller stuff get made too, which is great. I mean, a lot of filmmakers are going to him if they got some high concept, low budget stuff, and they're getting creative freedom to do it too. Like, they get Final Cut. It's I mean, it's great what he's doing.
I mean, we talked about Unfriended last week, and I think that's a much stronger found footage movie. But then again, it's like I said, like 10 minutes ago, this was the catalyst. This was necessary. Like, this was the proof that all you need is a very small cast and a camera in a room, and you can still get scares that way. Like, find a way to make the story match the storytelling, like the way you're telling the story.
Like Paranormal Activity is the gimmick, and then we've built up on like getting a 3-act structure and like stronger characters and stronger stories out of that gimmick.
Because like when people this year were saying, "Oh, Unfriended's really bad," like all that shit. Like when I tell people, "Oh yeah, like, I saw that, I liked it," oh, are you serious? Like compared to this movie, like compared to the first Paranormal Activity, like that movie's amazing.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
so
it's
good.
about
like believable characters,
like,
true like actual like friendship dynamics and romance, and like a viable threat. Whereas this is literally invisible. Like you don't like I don't know. Maybe I want to see the original theatrical ending too.
It's
because I knew something. I mean, this isn't. It's not a spoiler because it's not in the movie. But I knew because he's looking at the camera like right when he gets the camera and he picks up a knife and like he mimics like mimes under his throat. He's like, oh, he's gonna get stabbed with a knife. And I really wish that was in the movie.
I mean, it's not like. Yeah, you're not that far off, but it's funny because that ending, that was actually a note from Spielberg that they had to end on a bigger note. So that ending was something
which I mean
that
final jump scare, like I didn't like the one.
It's very
Sinister. Yeah. That one sucked. That was tacked on, whereas this one was like really
that was like
really done
that
well.
That freaked
like,
everybody the fuck out. Like me included. Like I shouted. Yeah,
it got to me
when that happened.
Yeah. I was like, "You motherfucker!"
So you're just
I turned away
from
the TV.
I mean, that's how you do jump scares. Is you get audiences to look deep into a corner, and then just all of a sudden, some just shoots out into the foreground. That's how they work. I mean, that's a great one.
I still think you have to. We're coming up on the end here, but I still think you have to see Creep.
Yeah, I know. I want to.
It's kind of like after I've seen this too, and like more found footage over the last couple of weeks. Like it's pretty important. Like not important, but it's a spin. Okay, like it's a change of not like a change, but it's almost like genre commentary. As it does seem a lot more realistic. Like for one thing, you fucking got the Duplass brothers involved and. And some real talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just some nobodies. But yeah, check that out. Like,
no, it's on the list.
Like it still it's compared to this, really good. But it also starts off really slow, which is like it seems like a trend in found footage. It's like you have to let the audience, I guess, get acclimated to the storytelling format. You can't just like get into it.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing is like it slowly works its way into like Paranormal Activity. You're not for me. It's like I wasn't creeped out by at first. Like it took its time to get there. Like and I mean that's the thing that
no, yeah, it took like 40 minutes.
That's probably the thing I'll praise about the first one the most though is that the scares like everything builds up and gets creepier and creepier as they go along. For the sequels. Not so much.
Like straight from the get-go?
They kind of have, like, big moments scattered all around, and, like, some moments just feel bigger than others, and, like, the end just kind of feels a little tacked on by the time that you get to it on, I don't know, some of them, I don't remember which ones specifically. Like, I don't even remember what happens at the end of 4, to be honest.
Watching this, I was basically just my kind of the same way that I watched Limitless so I could watch the TV show, which I really like, by the way. And I think you gotta check it out. For one thing, Bradley Cooper's coming back on Tuesday, and it got a full season order, so that's a good thing. But yeah, like I basically saw this because of seeing the trailer for the final one, the one that's in theaters right now. I want to see that movie. I was talking to my friend who watches these movies. I was like, let's go see it. Like it looked like. The concept, if you don't know it, is that they have some 3D camera that can see the
like it's what they're doing. I mean, that's
like in the trailer at least, like it was using it really well, like 3D jump scares.
I feel like, I mean, I don't. That's an interesting creative idea. At the same time, I feel like that goes against it, just because. Those moments where the camera is just lingering, like, it's about what you can't see, and yet you feel that something's going on. You can hear it, but you can't see it, and that's what's scary. Like, somehow it
Well, this
seems
is the
like,
final chapter.
Yeah,
I
know.
Change something.
I know.
Like, look at the Saw movies. They do the same thing. Let's make a 3D one.
I know. It's just at the same time, it's like, well, it seems like unless you're a fan of the franchise, then there's really no other reason to see it. I don't know. Maybe in 3D it might be cool, and I
comes out.
I
I wanna
might
see it in
go.
3D.
I'm not sure. I mean, I still have to catch up on marked ones. I'll think about it. Yeah, it's not high on my
I
list
think
though.
the marked ones is on Netflix.
Yeah.
I know they have one of the films, not the first, on there.
Yeah. Well, I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's our episode. We went way over time. We might just cut this for your convenience. You can reach
you
us.
gonna do that?
Maybe. You can reach us in a plethora of other ways.
Oh man.
Twitter, Facebook, WordPress, Soundcast, TuneIn. It's all over the place. We'd love an email, dollar.reviews@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We have a Death to Cinema coming up soon on Men in Black. See you next week.
Have a good night.